qualifications. That was Magdalena Roig of Austria, very young athlete, still showing now how much she's ready to challenge some of the older, more experienced female athletes. We also had a top from Kim Jae-in, Mina Markovic and Momoka Oda, our number 1, 2 and 4 retrospectively on the world ranking, and they are going to be challenging Magdalena as we move through the semi-finals today. This is where it starts to get exciting as we move towards the finals. Welcome back to the IFSC. Let's get things started with a look at the start lists. Well, here we are then with the start lists. Having a look now at the men's semi-finals. So we have here Lucas Karp starting us off. We're going to be moving forward onto Evgeny Zazulin. All the way down here to Clement Betchen, I've seen just recently warming up at the back of the wall. Onto the second page then, Hope for Belgium, Loïc Timmermans in here. Moving further down, Min Hyun Bin. Took his first gold quite recently, as much as last year. He's going to be coming on, putting on a better show. Also, Thomas Ballet and Gauthier Super, two very young French athletes that have really started to put on a great show recently. Really improving throughout the past few years. Mario Lechner in there as well, who had a bit of an interesting second climb yesterday. Ended up taking off one of his shoes and throwing it over a roof. That was really interesting to see. Domen Skofic here as well, another massive name. All of a sudden, this young athlete's really starting to show just what he can do against some of these other athletes. And then, of course, these latter 8 that we've got here are all names that we know. Manu Roman, Magnus Mitbo, you've got Jakob Schubert in there, Roman de Grange. We have Ramonet as well, Sachi Ama. It's looking like a fantastic lineup for the end of the men's there as well. Taking you on to the women's semi-finals, and we're starting things off with another hope for Germany. Patricia Holzmann here. Moving further down, Claudia Zolfi, the sister of our other Italian athlete, Tina Susterzik. Anna Verhoeven, another hope for Belgium. Christina Stutz for Austria. Sassol makes it through just, and also Evgenia Malamid, who had a really tough day yesterday. A little bit of a mixed bag, didn't manage to get a top in there. Looked a little bit disappointed yesterday, but she's managed to make it through. Salome Roman, Manu's younger sister, makes it through as well, quite high here. Nikki van Bergen for the Netherlands. Mathilde Bromein, who's been putting on a fantastic show since the start of the year, really challenging some of the other athletes at the European Championships just recently. Rebecca Stott, Yuka Kobayashi, another dark horse, Yuka Kobayashi. One of those athletes that seems to always just sneak into the finals under the radar. Akio Noguchi then, world number 2 in the world rankings for bouldering, here then putting on a good show for the lead climbing discipline as well. She did the same thing over at Arco just recently. Ellen Janiko, Katarina Posch, Kim Jae-in, you've got Dinara Fakrdinova in there, Mina Markovic, really big names as we get into the latter section today. Katarina Posch as well, putting in a good show yesterday also. Welcome back to Puurs. We're going to get a bit excited now as we are almost ready to start bringing out our athletes. But all that remains for me to do at the moment is introduce you to my co-commentator today, who's going to be with me all the way through the semi-finals and hopefully the finals, if he doesn't get bored and fed up of me during the semi-finals. I'm now joined by Sebastian Helenke of Germany.
Hello, and thank you a lot for letting me be your co-commentator. I hope I will do a very nice set with you here. And yeah, I will say a little bit something about the routes and also about the competitors. And I hope you will enjoy me.
Thank you, Seb. So let's talk a little bit, just to start things off today, about yesterday in the qualification rounds. Obviously, you were in the qualies yesterday. You had a bit of a bad run yourself yesterday. You were talking to me about why you think that might have happened. So what do you think it was?
Well, yeah, yesterday, first of all, it was a really frustrating day for me. I thought I was actually really fit, and also in my preparations and trainings I felt really strong, but I think actually I've just trained a little bit too much, a bit too tough. In the last 3 weeks I've done 8 training sessions per week and every week, so maybe it was just a bit more than I would actually support right now. And yeah, then of my mentality I wasn't so good after my first route, which didn't go good, and then it was not good anymore.
But you were saying that you actually really enjoyed the routes yesterday because they were nice and short, they were more towards your style, so you've enjoyed the setting at least here, yeah?
Yeah, while the first route, the green one, was a little bit too long for me. It was a really, really, really high route. And the black one, the second qualification, it was way nicer. It was shorter and the holes were not too small, so that was a lot better, yeah, for sure.
Well, Seb's going to be with us all the way through today. He's going to be talking us through what he thinks of these two new routes that we get started with right now with our first two athletes, which will be Patricia Holzmann and Lukas Kobb. So you have Lukas Kobb for Austria on the left-hand side of your screen, Patricia Holzmann for Germany on the right. Let's start off with the easy one for you, because you obviously know Patricia. Talk to me about how she's been doing recently in training.
Well, Patricia, she's actually like an upcoming talent. She hasn't been in the national team even yet. She's just of the, well, preparative team, let's say. And yeah, it's her very, very first international competition. She hasn't been in any international youth competition. And she got discovered in the last Germany Cups. So it's quite a surprise that she already is on her first World Cup in semis. It's really a nice way for her to go, and I hope she will do good and she will enjoy the semifinals here. But I have to confess, I don't know her so good because she just got discovered.
Well, it must be a massive confidence booster for her to come out in the first international senior comp and make it through into the semis. I mean, she's in 26th place, but it's still quite an achievement to make it through with a lot of these more experienced athletes.
For sure.
Talk to me a little bit about the route that she's on at the moment. We'll go over to Lukas in a little while, but we're up now towards this star here. What are you thinking of this route? I mean, we're going to have a chat to some of the route setters a little bit later. Unfortunately, Patricia coming down a little bit soon there. But talk to us about what you think of the female route here. Do you think it's a more power, technical, dynamic type of route? Will we be seeing any more of the bouldering style that we saw yesterday?
Well, I think it has some bouldering movements just like it was there. But it's basically also a very long route, so you need a very good basic endurance, but as well you need to do some movements really bouldery style, like a bit dynamic and with a big force of power. So I think it's a mixture of some hard movements, but lots of basic endurance. And on a few movements, I think you have to take the exact foot positions, otherwise you're going to fall. Mainly when Christian Bindhammer, the one who was route setter here, the chief route setter, is setting routes, you always have to find a very tricky foothold position, so that's quite hard.
So it's a very exact procedure when you're talking through the beatering on there, you know, one move and it could cost you everything.
Yes, for sure.
So we're going over to Lukas Kobb now then, a young hope for Austria here. Born in 1992. We'll talk through this route in just a second. I'm going to let Sebastian have a brief look at what he's seeing here on the men's route. We'll talk through what he thinks the sort of style is. Lukas is 21 then from Dornbirn. Looking at the best results that we've seen him doing on a senior competition, he came 18th in Atlanta in 2012. So last year, the best result overall that we've seen from Lukas Kobb was 2 fifth place positions at the Male Youth B Lead European Youth Series in both Imst and Warsaw in 2007. But he's quite a frequent competitor. He's been through a lot of the male juniors lead competitions and the European Youth Series over the past few years. His first major push for a comp in 2013. We have Lukas here now then. So Sebastian, this route, the men's route, you're saying this one's looking quite hard, yeah?
Yeah, it looks really hard and also very, very long. I think here where Lukas is right now, it's the first little crooks. I think those movements, yeah, exactly there. From the
well
pinch,
spotted.
yeah, from the pinch to this gray volume, I think it's a hard movement. It's very powerful. You need a good strength in your core. And this lap, I think it's not that hard, but it's a bit uncomfortable. If you're doing some mistakes, you might get pumped quite early and fall. But I think, yeah, it starts getting hard really there at the beginning of the roof, and then it's just all over lots of endurance with a few uncomfortable cross movements, and then closer to the top, close to the edge, there are very, very small holes and some crimps. So I think this route should be very hard for the competitors, but they're going to make it through.
Okay, so we're going to talk more about the male route a little bit later. We'll talk about both of the routes and get some gradings or estimate gradings from the route setters a little bit later on. I'll be talking to either Jan or Christian a little bit later on. For now, we go over to Mio Nonaka over on the women's route. Sebastian, talk us through what she's doing here at this early section on the wall.
Yeah, well, at the moment she's having almost a knee bar, I think, but not completely. And she's getting close to this first little crooks with the small holes. But I think she's having a better idea actually with matching the pinch. instead of taking the little foothold on the left. And I think now she's through. So the next movement. Yeah, and I think now there are a few maybe easier movements, but still uncomfortable.
That section here around the start, all those last 3 or 4 moves are very bouldery up to that point there.
Yeah, they're quite bouldery. And you have to force your concentration really on this point that you don't fall, I think. And this is, I think, even more uncomfortable than hard. You have to get quite well on your foot.
You can see there she's hardly got anything on that edge there. I mean, it looks like there might be a bit to perch on, but remember the wall is on an incline, so that's actually sloping straight down. She's having to smear there as much as she can. Do you think that it was worth her possibly putting the right foot up onto the hold that was there as well? Maybe
yeah, I think that might be even possible, but for that you need to be very flexible. I think it's not so easy, but I think for the smaller athletes mainly, this might be the way to make it work out.
Well, that was around the 20th hold. Well, she was pushing for the 20th hold there, so around the 19 plus for Mio Nonaka. And we go over to Evgeny Zazulin. This is his first competition in, I think, 3 years. He's been absent from the IFSC circuits for quite a while, but he's back again. So moving on to this route here then. It's currently around the 8th and 9th hold. About to start pushing up towards the 10th, which is the tiny one you can see just directly above that. So he's going to probably be matching around here, getting the feet up a bit, taking up with the left before striking the right for the larger volume, you think, Sebastian?
Yeah, I think here at this place with the sloper it's quite uncomfortable. As I said before, the slab is maybe not hard but uncomfortable, and I think he can feel that quite a lot because you have strange and round holds, they are not feeling secure, and just as we saw, it's a bit uncomfortable.
So we're looking like that could be a bit of a tricky section as well. Maybe not so much as what we saw with Lucas, which was saying the first real crux is that pinch a little bit higher up on the wall. But even at the very first, the earlier sections of this, you think this is an intention for the route setters to get you as pumped as possible before hitting the roof?
Yeah, I think with sections like that, you can get the athletes really, really pumped if they don't find fast the right way to do it. Or they even could fall like it just happened right now. But yeah, I think a lot of persons are going to get through it if they just find the right foothold positions there. I think he just did it a little bit wrong, so he slipped off, and those things can happen mainly with this route setter because he sets quite tricky routes.
Well, we're getting started now with Claudia Gazolfi. While we are, just to say a brief good morning to all of you if you are joining us here at Puurs. This is the semi-final stage of this World Cup 2013. If you want to get in touch with us, if you want to get chatting with us over here, I'm joined by Sebastian Helenki, one of the very young, new up-and-coming climbers for Germany. He's going to be with me all the way through the day today, talking through the technical side of what we're looking at here. If you have any questions for either myself or Sebastian, get in touch with us on Twitter using the hashtag IFSCWC. That's hashtag IFSCWC. A shout out and a good morning to Cam Harrison, who's joining us all the way over in Australia, saying these routes look rad. Happy to be able to watch the IFSC World Cup live. Happy to have you, Cam. And also over to Brad N. Phelps, saying he's checking in from Kalispell, MT. Excited to see the climbers. Let us know where you're joining us from and who you're rooting us for on Twitter. So we're now with Franz Krachenberger for Switzerland and also Claudia Gazolfi. Franz, I think you've competed with for quite a while, haven't you?
Yeah, in the European Youth Cups I have got to know him already a long time ago. He's a really nice person, he's just so cool, he just lives his own lifestyle. I like him a lot and I wish him all the best here on his way up. I think he actually had a broken arm this year earlier, and he's already here in the World Cup stage again. I think that's very, very good. I wish him all the best luck. Let's hope he will do great.
So you were competing together. I mean, are you in the same age bracket on the EYCs?
No, he is actually quite a few years older. I'm not so sure how old he is, but I think about 3 years older than me for sure.
So he's one of the guys that you would essentially say that you were looking up to when you were coming into the EYCs for the first time?
Well, kind of, yeah. Yeah, I think when I was male youth B, he was male youth A his last year.
So Claudia is on the same point that we saw earlier. You can see she has taken the right foothold and helped her push up to that next higher foothold with the left there. That's got her onto the 20th hold on this one. She's now going to have to try and strike out towards the right. You can see all the chalk there marking where the place to put your hand is on this one. You think she's going to match here? Crossover?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think the upper one, the bigger hold, she's going to match it. And the next one, she will take it with the right hand. But the next one, she has to match it for sure. Maybe she should put up her left heel, I think. That would be more effective, exactly.
She's got a heel hook there with the left. That's giving her a little bit more support.
Yeah.
Levering herself onto the wall a little bit.
And now she will have to push up a little bit, dynamic for sure. Yeah.
Very nicely done.
That's one of the real bouldering movements in this route.
Well, I think this entire section here has looked from about hole 15, 16, moving up over the star here. You know, there's a big reach over 15, 16 up to 17 and 18 with your two hands here. Yeah. That's very bouldery as well. And then that little pop that you saw there. You can definitely see Jan's influence, I think, on some of these routes.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Yeah, and as we can see, there's not any good resting position there on that route. We are already about half of the route, and there was not any place where you could rest, where you could calm down and shake out your arms. I think it's very hard. You need lots of endurance as well, next to the big maximal power there.
If you could say that there is a spot that it would be possible to rest for a moment on this women's route, where would you say that you think it's going to be?
It's quite hard to say from here, but maybe actually at the big orange hold where she fell. I think a few of the strong competitors, of the very strong ones, of the last ones, are going to rest there, but I think it's not really a good resting position. I think it's only a possibility to rest if you are super strong. And apart of this, I don't really see any good resting position later on.
So we're looking at an extreme sustained route here for the women's, a very much endurance-based route. When the men's were still with Franz, he's taking his time here, he's keeping it steady, which is exactly what he needs to do at this point, because as we were saying earlier, it looks like the route setters have put in a couple of moves here earlier on in the sequencing that are trying deliberately to get you as pumped as possible as you start to move out onto the route. Franz has really taken his time here. He's looking a little bit pumped. Yeah. Needs to sort of try and push to find a point where he can shake out a little bit.
Yeah, and I think as well in this route it's very hard to find any place to shake out. It's kind of the same than for the women. You don't really have good places to rest. And I think now the route starts really getting tough here with those holds.
So while we are watching Franz emerge on the wall here and start approaching that first crux that Sebastian spotted a moment ago, you can just see it creeping in on the top left-hand corner now, the pinch. And unfortunately...
Yeah, I guess he was quite pumped already from the slap part. And I think exactly what I told about before, getting yourself tired in the slap, that's what happened to him. Because he took quite a long time on the slab. On a few uncomfortable movements, he just climbed too much up and down, so he got tired for the roof part.
It's finding that balance, isn't it, between taking your time so you don't get too pumped, and then on a route such as this, when it is about endurance, so it's very sustained all the way through, not overusing your energy to stay on a single point.
Yes, exactly. You always have to find something in the middle between taking some good rest positions where you may shake out your hands, but staying fluent.
Well, this is Tina Susterzik now for Slovenia, the 20-year-old athlete from Zabnica. She's world ranked 29th on the World Cup rankings for this year, though. She's all the way up in 16th place And looking at previous results, she came 11th in IMST just recently. I was saying yesterday, Sebastian, I'm kind of looking at this wall here in Puurs. It's like IMST's little brother.
Yes, yeah,
It's
that's true.
It's very similar design and shape, but just a little bit smaller. Still very wide though. It's got a lot of
Yeah, exactly.
surface.
It always reminds me to IMST as well. It's just maybe a bit steeper in general. It's not so much only slab and roof as
It's
it is
quite-
in IMST.
It's quite interesting that it's very vertical for maybe the first third, and then the entire latter 2/3 of the wall are just on a huge like
Yeah.
incline roof.
Yeah, it's so steep, this whole wall, apart of the first meters. And maybe it's a little bit shorter, but it's just like IMST actually of the style.
So Tina taking a moment to rest here then. This is an interesting one. Is this the point that you were saying that you thought they might do, or was it a couple of moves on that you thought the rest would come in?
Well, either there or maybe at the next one, but I think there it might be even better, that's true, because you can put your heel on the hold of before, so
And the other thing is that she's that arm is completely straight, so she's in essence she's sort of stretching that other arm that's holding her on while she's shaking the other one.
yeah.
It looks like quite a nice position there.
And also the women, they're always able to match every hold. For me, as a male climber, that's always so hard. I really don't like matching small holds. So for some female climbers, they find rest positions where the men are just a bit confused about, because at least me, I'm not able to match so many small holds. But I guess that's really a strength of the female climbers.
Well, at this point now, then Tina's going to have to go for this pop. That is a risky move, isn't it? I
yeah,
think we're going to see some falls there today.
That's a risky move. That's like the kind of outfalling move.
I was very impressed with Claudia a few moments ago. First
Yeah.
attempt, straight up pop, got it.
Yeah, she was fighting so good, really giving her best. That was nice. It was a nice attempt.
Because remember, guys, as well, these athletes have had a brief observation time, but this is on-sighting. They haven't attempted these routes. It's not like Arco where they get to work on the routes beforehand for the finals. This is just on-sighting here, so these guys are coming out. They'll have only had a look from the ground at what they can be doing later on. To put a little dyno pop halfway through up on the wall on the lead wall, that's quite a risky move when you haven't worked on it before.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't know
Yeah,
what that
it's
next
quite-
hold's going to feel like, you know?
Exactly. It's quite hard because you're always on on-site modus. You only 8 minutes or, well, 6 to 8 minutes of observation time. That's not so much. You can have a short look over every hold or every movement, but mainly you have to try to remember all the movements on all the holds at the end, that you're still able to analyze it in the isolation tune. I guess that's a very important aspect. But it's quite hard to memorize so many holds and footholds and movements in such a short time. I think that's actually the specific, well, like, that's the difficulty about competition climbing, that you don't have time to work out, to check all the movements, how they could go. You just have one try and everything is on site.
So we're now with Marcelo Bombardi. Sebastian, talk us through this section, because it was around here that Franz came down. These next 3 moves were quite crucial towards pushing towards the first crux. Talk us through what Marcelo's doing here before we start talking about Anak in a moment.
Yeah, he's having a little rest here actually. It's looking quite good. He's looking still stronger than Franz here. I think he's going to do a few movements more. Wow, very impressive rest hold here. And now he's carrying on, still quite strong. Now coming quite small crimp here. It's a bit in-cut, but still not that good. And this wrist heel, oh no, it just took him down there. Yeah, that's a pity. And now we have our next female athlete here, Anak Verhoeven. One of the still very young, but already very strong and talented female climbers. She already had a few good results, also in the female World Cups, and mainly on the youth. She had just so much success already. I'm hoping for her to get well on her home wall here. I think she can do quite good stuff. And here we see her in the entrance, still looking quite fresh and relaxed. I think the next few movements she is going to do quite easy, quite fast and fluent. And then in the first bouldering part, we will see how far can she go and how close it might be to finals. I think she is one of the athletes who really want to get here into finals. It's her home wall. She trains here quite a lot, I think. So it would be really nice for her getting into finals in front of her home crowd. And I think she does have the possibilities to do it. She is a very talented climber. And now on the right for the men, there's Christoph Hanke, actually a good friend of mine in the German team. Wishing him best luck. He had already a little bit a tough year of preparation this year. He got a little finger injury, but he got so fit in such a short time again. It's impressive, and I think if he's not too nervous and he's doing what he can, he may get a really good place here, maybe around top 15.
Thank you, Seb. I'm just going to stop you there for a second. I'm going to let you watch Christoph's climb for a moment so you can keep an eye on him. And while that's happening, I'm going to be chatting to our chief route setter here, Christian Bindhammer, about the routes that have been set in front of us. Christian, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you to meet you. Yeah, about the routes, yeah, we have to say that we try to do at the men's route a little bit technical start. So because now it's an on-site round, it changed a little bit the system to the qualification round, which is splash. And in the on-site, this kind of climbing, if you get too nervous, if you spend too much power, you will not have it at the end. So in the end, we try to have the best climbers in the finals, you know.
We're definitely seeing that already, and you're already getting a lot of compliments about these routes online due to the way that they are looking and the way that they are set. The female route particularly, some really nice bouldering moves going on around the star here on the wall and up to that next section. We'll go over to the women's route in a second. Just to talk through the men's one here then, so you've got this idea of the technical start, especially as you move into the route, they're going to start to get a bit pumped here, and it's an endurance race then towards the top, yeah?
Not really completely endurance. The next part is like small holes. You have to go fast over it, and then you will reach better pockets, a little bit style moves with good holes, and then you will have a little bit less hard moves, just to be able, if you are already a little bit pumped, to fight on, and of course the end part will be just for the best.
Now we're already seeing a couple of crux moves on here. The one in particular is the one that Christoph's about to get onto. This pinch onto the grey one we've seen. That's looking like a really tough move. Here he goes now.
This move is not so hard, but you have to clip before, and you are already pumped, you know. I hope he will do now this move. This will bring him a lot of places, I think. Okay, but still it was a quite good try from him. Yeah, and
after that, is there any point at all where they're going to be able to, even some of the top ranked athletes, are they going to be able to find anywhere to take a moment to rest and shake out?
Yeah, in the next part there will be also with the better pockets some little rest points. Yeah? But it depends always on your strengths, of course.
If you, Christian, if you could give us a rough grading for the route, what you'd say estimate around it would be?
It's, I would say, a hard AP plus route, but artificial route. You cannot compare this with the crack, you know, because you need much more stamina in this route than, for example, on the outside 8C, probably. But the moves are not as hard as maybe in the 8C outside.
Thank you for that. We've not had people say that before. You're comparing with outside. That's great. So we're saying an 8B plus, but in comparably with something like a crag or out on rock route, you'd say that it could go up to around an 8C in terms of the difficulty. That's great, thank you. If we can go over to the women's then now, we're having a fantastic effort here from Anna Verhoeven, really putting on quite a show for us. So we've seen these bouldery sections towards the start that are looking really, really nice. Quite a technical little procedure here. What's the intention as you, from a chief route setter's perspective, for this route?
Yeah. In this route, of course, it's also not too clear what to do. You can do some mistakes. So if you don't get into the route quite good, then you also will have not the power for the end, you know. And so it's not just to go on the route and go through it, that every move is clear what to do. So you have some more possibilities how you can move on. But if you find the easiest solution, also with the foot hooks and so on, you will save some power for the top of course.
So we're looking at quite a technical start and quite a powerful end.
Yeah, right. This is normally how the competition routes have to be, you know, I think, because we need to get a selection at least to have the finalists, the 8 best climbers in the final. And of course, we want also to have a little bit selection before the final. So we don't want to have 8 people out topping the route.
It's giving you a better selection for the finals of athletes that are able to keep their energy towards the top section. So you put in a hard point at the end. Yeah. We saw it the same in Imst, and yeah, I think you're right in saying that it tends to be a competition format. That's the way that they are made. There's still, I mean, it makes it sound so generalized when it's not, because there's still some really exciting stuff going on around the middle here, and it looks like there's some really nice stuff going on at the end as well. For this one, if you were to give it a grading, there's a rough estimate again?
Well, I would say that this could be also something like A plus AB, more AB maybe. So maybe easy AB I would say, but still, yeah, artificial one, you know. You have to go on and not too much rest points in the end. So if you have no stamina, it's getting hard. Especially if you're just used for crack climbing or outside climbing, it will be a really hard one for also for climbers which maybe have done 80 plus outside, you know. It's hard to compare the grades in this kind of climbing.
Now you're already getting quite a nice little spread of athletes here that are falling at different points, and I know that there's a lot of pressure on, especially a chief route setter, to make sure that that's happening. How are you feeling personally right now? Are you quite relaxed? Are they working from what you've seen so far the way that you intended them to be?
Well, yeah, in the end you have to trust to yourself and also to the team, of course. It's always a team decision. If you do one route a bit easier or more difficult. So in the end, when the routes are ready, we are quite sure it will work, you know. And also we watch, of course, the pre-rounds. So we have an idea how strong are the climbers in comparison to the other routes. We know all routes. So it's quite easy to say, maybe we do the route a little bit more stiff or less hard, you know, to get at least one to the top. This is the aim, yeah.
Just one.
Yeah, just one, but it's not always working like that, but we try it, you know. Yeah.
Christian, thank you very much for talking to us. Can I ask you to come across again towards the finals, and we'll have another talk about the final routes?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Getting excited about those ones. Thank you. Christian Binthammer, our chief route setter.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Christian. So, Seb, I have been watching a little bit, but I have been having a conversation with Christian as we've been going on there. Tell us about Anak's climb a few moments ago.
Anak had a very, very strong climb there in the female route. It was so impressive. She climbed almost to the top. It was just a few movements away, and she looked so solid in even all the crux movements. It was amazing, and I just said when she went into the entrance of the route, I think she might be a candidate for the final today. And it might be really true. We will see the other climbers. I'm very curious, but I think this height might be even enough for finals, and I would really wish it to her. She had climbed so nice and so free. It was amazing.
Now she's another one, Anak, that you'll be used to seeing on the youth circuit and at the World Youth Championship. She was over in Canada with us very recently, and we were saying yesterday in the qualifications that horrible mix-up for her at the end where she was told that she'd taken gold, and it was actually Jessica Phils. That's actually the third time that's happened to Anak Verhoeven. So
yes,
I think
I know.
it would be fantastic on her home turf, on a senior comp, to be able to get through to the
Yeah,
finals.
that would be so amazing for her. And I know she's very, very fit. Once I have been already training here in Puurs. I think that was 4 years ago, and I met her and her father and her mom, and the family is just so nice, just like Loic's parents and Loic as well. So I would really wish to both of them to do good results here. I think they can do it. It's their home wall, it's their home crowd, it should be their style. So let's see what they do. But Anak has, I think, secured herself already a quite good place in this competition.
Unfortunately, an early fall there for Christina Stutz. Around that bouldery section, we'll be just talking through with Christian. So roughly then what we're looking at for these two routes at the moment, bearing in mind that Christian was talking about the difference between competition routes and routes outdoors on rock, he's saying that for the men's we're looking at around an 8B+, and for the women's we're looking around an 8A+, just to give it a rough perspective about what we're looking at the moment. I believe this is Thomas Ravenel. Yep, out here on the wall. Now he had quite a good climb yesterday, a couple of good climbs actually. But he's moving out now onto this men's route. So talk to us as well about Christoph, that we saw a little bit earlier. That Hanky, who was out a few moments ago, he was doing pretty well, and it was exactly the point that you highlighted earlier as being that tough
Yes, exactly. I think on the slab he was having his problems. There were quite a few really long movements for him, but he did them well. He could also loot them, and there on the pinch he was just tired and pumped. And I think this is, just like I said before, a quite hard movement, and yeah, exactly where I said it's the first crux, the first real crux, he fell. But well, let's see for what it will be enough. I think until now only Lucas Kopp has climbed till there, so we will see. I think it is quite a good thing, and maybe even for top 15 it could be close. We will see.
Well, at the moment, Anak Verhoeven is holding the high point on the female route. That was quite an impressive climb a few moments ago. The crowd was right behind her as well. Hopefully she's going to be happy with that, and we've got our fingers crossed that we'll see her through to the finals as well. Out of the two that you're looking at here at the moment, which is the one that you would most like to climb? If you had a choice of either of them, say, the male or the female route, which one looks more interesting to you?
Well, I have to say they are both looking quite interesting and cool. I would even say the female route is a little bit more bouldery. It's having a few more dynamic movement. It's looking quite cool. The slab of the man looks a bit upward, but cool as well. I don't know, I would like to try both, but for sure more the man route, because that's the one that I have to do always in my competitions. And I would really like to see today how I would be doing in this route, how would I feel. It's quite interesting.
Well, we have Katharine Chung here for Switzerland, 21 years old from Govelia, world ranked 41st, but on this year's World Cup ranking she's up to 23rd. A lot of results on the female junior lead competitions, multiple podiums, multiple silver medals actually. 3 silver medals during 2011, one at Imst, one at Edinburgh and one at Pau. Another one in 2010 at Annecy in France. Gold medal at the Female Youth A Lead World Youth Championships in Valence in 2009. So we have a former World Youth Champion here for the Female Youth A category, Katharine Chung. She climbed well yesterday as well. All of these athletes had to climb well yesterday to make it through into these top 26 places. And we're going to be taking these athletes down to just 8. If you have any questions for either myself or for Sebastian, you can get in touch with us by getting onto the Twitter using the hashtag IFSCWC. I'll be checking that as often as I possibly can. And let us know where you're joining us from and who you're rooting for as well. So Ravenel now navigating this tough point that we were talking about, the first crux. How's he looking here?
Yeah, we have just seen he has moved over this first hard crux movement. It was impressive. He looked already really tired, and I wasn't sure if he was able to do it. still being so tired, but it was awesome. He got till this gray volume, and there he took a little rest. Now it goes on, and I think again it's a little crux position here because you have got a quite slopey hold there, and either you will have to do a cross or you have to do a few matches there. And I think mainly for the core power this is a very hard position. I'm curious if he's going to do this now. Wow, he holds it. That was impressive. Now a hook, doing the next clip. And now he might match or he will do a cross. I'm curious. I think he's going to try doing a little cross there. Wow, that looks hard. But this is pumping so much. Yeah.
Couple of fingers on that one there, but that ledge, very tricky position to be in, and roughly on the 32nd hold there that he was moving towards. So I think around a 31 plus that, but that still gives Thomas the lead at the moment. That's the highest point we've seen anyone get to. Interesting that it's only 3 moves roughly ahead of where we saw Lucas Cobb get to earlier on as well.
Yeah.
We're definitely seeing a crux point here on the male route.
Yeah, for sure. This is one of the crux movements, and although you have already climbed, there's so many uncomfortable movements that you are already tired, and you still have to climb everything so exact. You have to salute a few movements really statically. If you are doing them too fast, you will just fall. So I think this is very hard there. But it looks quite interesting. It looks quite cool. I'm curious how the next athletes are going to salute the position there on this star volume.
That was Katarine pushing up for the 20th hold again. It's around that point that we're seeing the most problems happening for the female athletes. So it looks like we've found our first 2 crux moves. You know what I'm really excited to see? I'm really excited to see Akio Noguchi and Mina Markovic on this bouldering women's route.
Yeah, me too.
This is right in their style. They should be able to just waltz their way up this.
Yeah, I'm sure they are going to get easily over those movements. They're just so strong. They're really extreme compared to the other ones. And this year, they're just so fit as nobody else in this moment, so it's awesome just to watch them in the competitions. I think we might even see here a top today, or maybe 2, who knows. But it would be really interesting. I hope we are going to see one from Mina or from Jane Kim.
That's the other interesting thing. Kim Jae-in started off the year doing the bouldering circuit. We were talking yesterday, somebody was asking why she wasn't doing the bouldering towards the end of the season, why she dropped out. Obviously she had that injury in Mial we were talking about, the knee injury there. But I always see Kim Jae-in as a predominantly lead climber, and I forget that she does attend quite frequently. She'll come and do a bouldering World Cup every now and then. We've seen it 2 or 3 times at the start of the year this year, trying the different disciplines as well. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see her on the women's route, this one of the semis, because she's a lot shorter than a lot of the other athletes, especially around this boulder section of the star, where the height could come as an advantage here, and the dyno as well. It's going to be really interesting to see Kim Jae-in, who is a very fluent climber. Like it's like watching a river move. It's one move into the next, all connected.
Yes.
To see her do a dyno on a lead wall is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for her this route is harder than for the taller climbers like Mina or Akio Noguchi, as you just said. But I think she's going to do those movements through very good because she has so much power. She is just an especially strong climber, and also because of the bouldering World Cups that she is participating in, she has got lots of maximal power, and I think she might get a top here, just like Mina Markovic. I mean, those are the 2 favorites here in this competition. I'm curious how they are going to do, but I think those dynamic movements might be a little bit harder for her than for the other ones.
Well, that was Cho Sung-hoon on the men's route there. Unfortunately, a very, very early fall for him, but he's one of the younger athletes here, still very, very young, only 17 years old. So there's a lot of pressure on someone of that age. I mean, what age did you start coming over onto the senior World Cups?
Yeah, I did my first senior age with only 16, and I still remember my first semi-finals. That was in Krani, in 2011, and I was so motivated, I was so psyched because I felt this route really being my style. It was so much my route, and I was so nervous and excited just to do it because I knew if I would do well, I could maybe even get in finals already there. And then just in the middle of the wall, I get some stupid blackout, and I just moved back and forward for about 3 minutes on one position because I don't know, I just got a blackout like never before and after again. So it is indeed a big pressure, mainly coming from the youth competitions where you're in some way still able with enough fitness to dominate, but leading to the adults competitions, it's just impossible to get inside of it as in the youth competitions. So there is a lot of pressure, but with the time you get used to it, and then it gets still better and better.
Now, did you have your World Youth Championship title at the time that you came into the seniors at 16? Had you taken the gold medal yet at the World Youth Champs?
Well, my first World Youth Champion title, I got it with 14 and then with 15, but not with 16. That's true. With 16 and IMS, that was not so much my competition. I still remember it. It was actually my worst World Youth Championship. Maybe because, well, the wall was a little bit long for me, and I'm not the climber who likes so long walls and many movements on the route.
And just quickly before we go on to Clement and Sassol on the wall, how many is it now that you have under your belt, the World Youth Championships? Is it 3 times?
Yes, yeah, 3 times.
So it was Singapore in 2012. Last year you had one as well. That was 17 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you had one at 14, one at 15.
Yeah, exactly.
So 3 times World Youth Champion, Sebastian. And you're saying as well straight away, it's such a shock to, you know, gold medal at the World Youth Championships, coming into the seniors, as many of these young athletes are doing. Sol's still very young as well. It is a shocker, yeah, the transition.
Yeah, for sure. It's like so different. You're not one of a few persons anymore who are super strong. You're just one of quite many persons that are strong as well, and strong as you, or even stronger than you. And you have to get used to this if you are coming out from kind of dominating the youth category. It's very strange, but I think it's an important lesson to take, mainly for your psyche, and it will always bring you further as an athlete.
And we saw that happening with Cho Sung-woon, then obviously a lot of pressure on a young 17-year-old athlete coming out, and just an early fall there, an early slip. It's easy to make mistakes. We are now with Clement Betchen though, as he's starting to move up into the roof section of this wall. Now, Clement has been around for many a year, and we see him usually on the bouldering circuit a lot. So around this midsection, if he can make it to there, we're going to see some interesting things coming from Clement, the fantastic athletes from Slovenia.
Yeah, I'm curious what he's going to do now. He went very fast and fluent through the slab, better than a few other climbers. And now it gets quite hard, so I'm curious how he's going to do. He still looks quite good.
Now, Clement's last medal and podium position at a lead event was in Kran in 2008. He took the gold medal there, but that's the last time he medaled at a lead event. He's medaled at bouldering events in 2011. He had 2 silver medals, one in Canmore, one in Vienna, and makes finals every now and then, quite frequently in bouldering as well. He's a very committed climber. His younger brother as well is another rising star, one of the young athletes just starting to making a name for himself, moving on to the circuit. Clement's made it through that transition quite nicely here. How's he looking, Seb?
He's still looking quite good, maybe a little bit pumped, but he's very effective on his way. He uses his feet very, very good and precise. He steps so precise, it's amazing to watch him. And there you can also see he's one of the more experienced climbers, and he never wastes power. He is just always able to do as much as it is inside of his muscles, and that's amazing because mainly the younger athletes, as we just talked about, they do mistakes because there's pressure on them. They don't have so much experience, just like me as well. But there you can see they have experience. They just do everything almost perfect on the routes.
We were talking as well about muscle structure and the difference between muscle structure and different athletes, and you were saying how it's very easy for somebody with a larger muscle structure. Like you can see Clement's one of the slimmer athletes. It's built for this sort of endurance, whereas some of the bulkier athletes have the tendency to get pumped very quickly, get tired and get tired very, very quickly because you're used to using all the power, and you might have the top cap power, you know, to make some of the tougher moves. But if you're exhausted by the time you get there, it can be a negative thing.
Yes.
You think that's true across the board for all the men? Because we do have some bigger male athletes as well, you know, like Magnus Midtbø's relatively
Magnus
well
Midtbø
built.
for sure.
But I did say actually at the start of this year, he does seem to have slimmed down a little bit. He's looking like he's cutting back.
Yeah, that's true. And I think also for lead climbing at the moment, it's so much of endurance, so you have to train lots of endurance, and that's actually one of my problems because I'm one of the climbers with a bigger muscle structure. I don't have so slim and long muscle fibers. I have more the shorter and wider ones. So for me, this style is at the moment quite hard. And I'm not the only one. For example, Mario Lechner, for him it's a bit the same. He has the same problem as me. He also trains a lot, and I think on shorter routes he could be for sure in every final because he's so strong and really fit, but this is also not his style, and I can quite understand that. It's sometimes a bit frustrating because for me it's kind of the same.
Clement's looking fantastic here at
Yeah,
this point now. He's
so
moving
awesome.
into the high point, into the pocket there with the left hand, starting now to push up to the 40th hold here.
Wow, that was awesome.
That's the 40th that he has here of a total of 52 on this men's route at an
climbs
8
so good.
plus level difficulty.
This is really strong what he's doing there. I think this might be even almost the high point to get into final. I think you don't have to climb much further than this to get into finals because this is a very hard route. It's very hard, very tricky, and I think this might be even enough.
It's interesting as well that Clement didn't actually look all that pumped there. It seemed like he went out, struck out with the left, and it was just, he couldn't quite get his hand to it and just slipping down a little bit and then came off. But he didn't look overly pumped.
Well, I think maybe his forearms were not that tired, but maybe in general on his whole body he was already tired of the whole pressure that you have got when you're hanging such a long time on such a steep wall. It's not only going, for example, on your forearm like on a more slappy route, it also goes a lot on the back, on your belly, on the shoulders, and it gets your body tired in general, so you may even fall not only because of your forearm, maybe also just because your whole body is too tired of the pressure all in all.
I think that's something to do with the incline of the wall up towards the top. If you're
Yes.
on like a more roof-based section for a long amount of time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, how is everyone doing then? Let us know how you're getting on. You can get in touch with us on Twitter using the hashtag IFSCWC. Let us know where you're joining us from as well. And what do you think of these routes in general then? We had that nice chat with Christian a little bit earlier about what kind of routes he's set here. For this one with Tina, who's just coming out now, Tina Johnson-Hafsas, we're going to stick with her on this one, talk through the women's route a little bit more again. It's got some really nice bouldery sections on it, really interesting routes. It's nice also to see more and more often on the Lead World Cups, a bit more of that bouldery style getting involved this year. Have you noticed that there seems to be 2 or 3 World Cups recently, we've seen a bit of a bouldery section featuring on the lead routes.
Yeah, that's true. Mainly for the female athletes. For the male athletes, actually a bit less than for the female athletes. I got that feeling. And I think it's nicer if there are a few bouldering movements inside because it's also more interesting to watch than just endurance routes that are going all the way up and every movement is kind of the same. So I think it's nice that in the female route also there are a few dynamic movements which are uncontrolled and you see they have to jump a little bit. So I think it's quite cool, and also the athletes who are not only having endurance but strength as well are able to move forward a bit more. I think it's this is a good improvement for the female routes.
But the thing I like about this one is it's the first time in a really long time. It might even be the first time that I've ever seen. I mean, it is a dyno in a way on a lead route about halfway up the wall. You know, it's a bit of a risky move for an on-site wall, an on-site route, to then have that dyno or that. It's kind of a big pop more than it is a full-on dyno, but it's quite a big move.
Yeah, it's quite a big move. It's like a risky move. You're not able to do it controlled. It's really uncontrolled, and that's the interesting thing about it. And I think also in the future in World Cups there should be more movements like that in routes. Then it would be also for watchers for sure more interesting to watch it. Maybe also on TV. I think that would be a very good improvement for the route setting.
Well, we're with Tina at the moment. She's moving up. That's a hand on the 18th hold now. Of a total on the women's route of 49. Oh no, sorry, 50. A total of 50 for the women's route holds and moves, and a 52 for the men's. The women's route is around an 8A plus to an 8B level of difficulty, and the men's is an 8B plus level of difficulty. So here she is now. She's made that move. This is a height thing again. I'm not entirely sure, but she made that move to the 20th hold look relatively straightforward. But we've seen quite a few athletes really having to reach for that and not quite making the hold she's matching on now.
Yeah, I think this movement is really uncomfortable because you may even have to step up with both feet, as we were talking about before. And now I'm curious if she's going to do the next movement, the dynamic movement we were talking about. And but it's good because then also the girls have to improve their power and not only endurance.
Well, on that subject of power that we were talking about a moment ago, Cam's got in touch on Twitter saying he knows how you feel. Sebastian, as soon as I train power, I pack on the weight, and that's the big thing. That's definitely why I'm not so good at climbing.
Yeah, that's true. I would say I'm one of the heavy climbers in the World Cup circuit, mainly if you compare it with the top 10. And well, it's just my body type. I don't eat a lot. I don't do anything for it to get heavier. I don't even do power exercises or anything. I just train. I just go bouldering and I just train endurance. But it's just my type of body. But I think and I hope through in the next years it will work out for me to get to the top.
It's really interesting to see the different body shapes. If you look at someone like Jörg Verhoeven, who's extremely tall, more sort of your body type than anyone else's, and then you compare that with Ramonet, who's very, very tiny, and then compare that again with Sachi, who's sort of a mid-height but very, very thin, very stretched muscle fiber on there. It's amazing to see all the different shapes and sizes and how each type applies itself to a different type of movement on the wall. For example, someone who's very, very tall can sometimes struggle with compression-based movements. There's so much of them on the wall, whereas someone who's very short might struggle with a more dynamic-based move and having to jump because they're lacking the height, and particularly like using slabs and things like that. It's interesting to see how each different body type has sort of a specialty attached with it.
Yeah, that's true. Climbing is also just such a varied sport. There's so many different aspects that you're having to think about when you're training. When you see the people, it's very interesting. Wow.
So more or less, I think that'll be the exact same score then as Clement Bertchen.
Wow.
But as Akito Matsushima has actually come out after Clement due to countback, that should now put Akito in the lead.
Yeah, it will put him in the lead, and he almost got to hold the next hold where Clement was falling. So I'm not so sure if he will get it as hold or not.
Just to give you guys some perspective though about where our athletes are reaching at the moment, Akito Matsushima there was our 10th athlete out, which means we still have 16 more yet to come on the male route, and those athletes include people like Sean McCall, Ramon de Grange, Jakob Schubert, Sachi Hammer, Ramonet is coming out a little bit later on as well. We've got Thomas Ballet, Gautier Super, Domin Skofic, Manu Ramon, Min Hyun Bin, like nearly every name now. We're getting into that really, this is the tricky stage for people that are coming out first in the semi-finals. Now, Akito now is going to have to go and sit down and panic for the next hour or so as the rest of the athletes come out.
Yeah, I'm quite curious about the top 10 athletes, how they're going to perform in this route. I think mainly there where Akito just fall. They're coming a few very, very hard movements with very short holds, not short, small holds. So I'm quite curious how they're going to feel in those movements. But I think close to there will be the high point for to reach finals or not.
Well, this is Manuela Sigrist then moving up to the first section on the wall, where she's going to get into this bouldery, difficult section that we've seen costing a couple of the athletes their climb here, around between 18th and the 18th and 20th hole. She's now about to reach up for the 18th with the right hand, with the left hand in a second. There it is, that's the 18th. So from now, these next 2 or 3 are quite tricky. And then after that, the 22nd to the 23rd hole is that little dyno pop that we've got going on. And that's again another very, very tricky section. Before we've even that's not even halfway up this wall.
Like 1/4 of the route. Yeah, I'm quite curious about Manuela Sigrist. I also know her actually from my time in youth competitions. In the time that I was Youth B, she won always the junior category, and I've trained a few times in her home climbing gym. She's really a nice person as well, so I'm wishing her best luck.
Manuela, 21 years old now, world ranked 57th, which she's been as high as 30th before. She is as high as 30th place right now on the World Cup rankings for this year. Looking at previous results then, exactly what you were talking about, just the female juniors before then, the European Youth Series. She has 2 gold medals from there, one in Anansi and one in Veliko Tarnovo in 2010. Most recent result to date on the female juniors lead European Youth Cups was in Kran in 2011, where she came 4th. Manuela just taking a moment now to rest and shake out before moving on to these next 2 tricky moves. Going over to Loïc Timmermans then, I would say Loïc is becoming one of those hopes for Belgium. I mean, there's quite a few young Belgium athletes at the moment that are really starting to kind of push into the senior field.
Yeah,
there's quite an impressive amount of talent. I'd say Annick Verhoeven's one of them, but we've also got Mathilde Bremain and Loïc Timmermans. The 3 of them are really putting on a good show at the moment. And I'm hoping that over the next couple of years, we should see Chloé Corlier coming out with pushing up as well for the Belgian team. Loïc, then again, another one that you must have climbed up the youth competitions with.
Yeah, that's true. In 2010, in my second year Youth B male, he was my main rival at the World Youth Championship in Edinburgh, and I was first and he was second there. So I still remember that I used to battle myself quite a few times already in the youth competition, and he is one of the very endurance climbers. He has just so much endurance. He can climb for ages and ages and ages and doesn't get pumped. It's really impressive for me to see it. And I think actually this wall should be really his style. So I'm curious how he's going to feel on this route. I hope in the bouldery sections he's going to do well and get over them fast and effective. And then I think he might climb really far in this route if he's doing well on those sections.
So Loïc on the wall now, then 18 years old. World ranked 24th already, and on the World Cup rankings, he's 23rd so far this year. He came first just recently at the European Youth Cup, the male junior lead category in Edinburgh over in Great Britain. This year took the gold medal there. Were you at that one, Sebastian?
Sorry?
At Edinburgh this year, the European Youth Cup, did you go?
No, I couldn't go there. Oh no, what happened? That was strange.
Early fall there for him. What do you think that was due to there?
It was looking like a very fast pump, almost like a cold pump. It was strange. He just did a few movements that were a bit hard for him, and then suddenly he got a pump, and that's quite unusual for him to see. Normally he climbs for ages and he doesn't get so pumped. Maybe he even got a cold pump, who knows, because also the weather conditions, it's not so easy, because you don't feel yourself actually so cold after warming up, but then you get on the wall. I felt that yesterday in my first route, and it's like, wow, you're doing the first 5 quick draws and your body gets cold already. So this is a very hard impact on your body if you're not warmed up.
It feels a little bit warmer today than yesterday.
Yeah,
But,
luckily.
but yesterday was extremely cold throughout the
Yeah,
qualification.
that's true.
Is it difficult to? I mean, even when it's not cold, even when it's like nice weather, is it difficult to keep yourself warmed up and ready to go in the break between your first and second climb in qualifications? What do you do to stay, ready to go? Do you rest and then warm up again for the second one?
Yeah, that's actually exactly what I do. When I've done my first qualification, then I rest maybe for an hour or something like that, depending on when I'm having to climb again. And then I just re-warm myself in a few movements. I try to do not too many movements that I don't get tired already in warming up, but I'm trying to do a few hard movements, a few powerful movements that I get warmed up my whole body. And while normally it's not so hard, but on a wall like here, where the outside conditions are not the best ones all the time, when it's cold for example, it's not so easy to stay right warmed up, because it's different than in other competitions that are indoor for example, or where it's really warm. Also in climbing, this is always a very strange impact on you. Sometimes it's so hot and you're sweating and you feel like, oh my god, I don't even need to warm up. I'm already too hot. And sometimes it's like in competitions like here, you're all the time cold and you do whatever and you feel for 5 minutes warm, and then suddenly you're cold again.
I definitely think we were talking about conditions as well. When you're abroad and it's a hot country, it can be another interesting one. When you're getting, I mean, how quickly do you notice the chalk starting to clam up on the holds there? What is that feeling like? Have you ever been like halfway up a wall, reached for the next hold, and just gone, oh no, that is not what I want to be touching right now? Can you notice the difference if you're later out coming into the competition?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it also depends quite much on each competitor how it is. For me, for example, my hands, they're either sweating a lot or they're quite freezing, just like right now here. So on hot weather conditions, I just need a few holes and then my chalk is away, and I feel when I'm touching a hole, it feels like water under my fingers. It's horrible. Or on competitions like here, I all the time feel my fingers like freezing it, and I wouldn't even need chalk at all, or just to warm up my fingers.
Well, that was a very, very early fall there for Mario.
Yeah.
Lechner coming out again. Similar thing to what we saw from Timmermans.
Yeah, I think
it's a little bit further on, but not by much. And I don't think Mario knows what's happening. But he's still got both of his shoes on. So that's a development from yesterday. At least he's kept the shoes on today.
Well, but I don't want to know what he's doing behind the wall there.
He's just gone and hidden somewhere. If you hear an explosion in a moment, you'll know what's going on. But we're with Barbara Bacher then, and did you see her a moment ago? She'd made the dyno very, very easily, put two hands on, matched on it, pulled herself
that's true.
up. Whole body weight up on that one. Now Barbara's done a lot of bouldering this year,
Yeah.
and that's probably got something to do with how she found that a little bit easier to get to that point.
Yeah, I think so. And also in Innsbruck, they have very good conditions, not only for lead, also for bouldering, and they train very good and effective there. So I think on those bouldering movements, she is quite good, just like many other of the Austrians. I'm quite curious how she's going to go on in the next movements here. And I see there is a little rest position, just like I said, on the gray volume. Might be one. So she tries to recover a little bit, and then again the next movements are also very powerful. They're two pinches and they're quite far off each other. Yeah, exactly there. Really nice. And now we're slowly getting close to the point where Anak Verhoeven fell. I think just a few movements away.
Starting to get a little bit of a shake on that left hand there. That hold that she's got up on the spherical volume on top of there. There's not much on that at all.
No,
quite
it's
sloped.
very slopey. Wow.
Tiny foothold as well. You could see the leg started going then. The left leg, the left hand. You could see that getting very, very pumped. It's exactly what you said. You know, she did take the time to rest, but then she's got into that position where she's had to do those next few very powerful moves straight out of that rest position, and after that, you know, you're straight back to being where you were before you rested.
Yeah,
you're
for
just
sure.
as pumped.
And also that rest position is not such a good one. I mean, the holds are still quite small, so you may recover yourself a little bit, but not that much. So in a few movements which are hard, you get so pumped again.
It's quite a cheeky thing for the root setters to do. They put a potential rest just before 3 or 4 really powerful moves. So you're going to rest there and go straight into getting yourself pumped again as soon as you moved on to the next section. It's just like we were talking with Christian earlier. You know, he was saying the aim, and what you're seeing a trend throughout most competitions at the moment, is that you end up with a very technical start that starts to get you pumped as much as you can, then a really powerful finish. And that's the way that you split the guys that are really going to be able to have the endurance to the guys that are more technical style or more just power style.
Yeah, it's exactly this. You always have a mixture of, like for the man here, a few technical movements, uncomfortable, then they put a little rest but never too good.
And then into a really powerful root section towards
and
the end. You know, just because they know by then you're going to be really tired, just like we saw a few moments ago with Barbara Bakker.
Yeah, it's very physical. You need a very, very good fitness there.
Well, we're with our second Ghisolfi of the day, Stefano Ghisolfi, who's Claudia's brother. Claudia put in quite a decent performance earlier today, made that dyno quite nicely. She's now not quite near the leader of the pack. We've got Annette Verhoeven still up there with Barbara Bakker. Still plenty more to come on the female side of things as well. We haven't talked through who's still yet to climb, so I'm just going to have a little look now what we're looking at. So Nikki Van Bergen, who's on the wall now. After we finish with Nikki, there's going to be a cleaning section.
For Stefano as well.
And after also for Stefano. So these two athletes, as soon as they put them at the same time, which is interesting. This is the halfway
quite
point.
uncommon.
Yeah.
Normally the female athletes always take longer than the male ones.
Yeah. But we're going to be seeing both of them. As soon as these guys get down, we'll have a clean. Then looking at the female athletes that are still yet to come, you've got Yuka Kobayashi, who I said earlier, she's always a bit of a dark horse for me. I tend to always be commentating on someone else while she's climbing, and then it's kind of like, oh, she's in the final. Where did that happen? We've got Mathilde Romain yet to come, Akio Noguchi, Katarina Posch, Ellen Janiko, Kim Gain, Dinara Fakhretdinova, Mina Markovic, Momoka Oda, and Magdalena Rock. Magdalena looking exceptionally strong at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. She's very fit.
She's sort of the antithesis of what we've been saying about the young athletes from moving on to the senior. She's like the exact opposite of what we say is the normal thing. You know, you go into the junior comps, and all of a sudden you're in the seniors, and it's, you know, panic. These guys are all really, really good. The routes are a lot harder. Magdalena doesn't even seem to have batted an eyelid since she's come through. She was the only athlete yesterday to top both routes. She's just so strong.
Yeah, that's true. She's very, very fit at the moment, and I think.
And she's still competing in the juniors. I mean, she was in Canada just recently.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very strong and fit at the moment. It's awesome. I'm very curious if she's going to feel good today. I think in finals she's going to be for sure, so I don't say in semifinals, but well, let's say first good luck in semifinals for sure, but in finals I'm curious. She is, I think, also one of the persons who have the potential even to win this competition, just like Mina Markovic and Jain Kim, but also athletes like Helen Janiko. They're very fit at the moment. I think mainly in finals then it's always a very mental thing, or in general at the competition, but mainly in finals.
Now Nikki's got a strap here all the way down her left arm. You can see it on the underside here. Is it something that you use yourself quite often as well? We've seen more and more athletes, like Clement had two towards the back of his neck yesterday and today as well. Just an extra bit of support. Do you use strapping yourself?
Well, I normally don't use it for myself, but I know lots of persons who are using it. I've actually never felt like so much the support of this that it was doing such a great effect on me. I think those things are also quite good if you have some muscular problem, maybe that it's some tendon a bit stretched, or even a muscle a little bit stretched or ripped, and then you can also support with this. And actually that reminds me to a few days ago when I had also a little bit stretched muscle on my shoulder, and there I thought, well, maybe some tape would be good, but I didn't have any in my home, so I was, okay, I'm going to get a hot bath and it will be fine. And it was indeed.
So we take this short break now then for our setters to start cleaning the wall. So, not long now, we'll be taking a short break at the moment while the wall is clean before we get back with the second half of our athletes. Roughly halfway now then through seeing all of our athletes. If you could give a prediction then, Sebastian, of the ones that you think here are going to be in our top 8, all in all, for the women's athletes, who you think we're going to be seeing in the top 8?
Well, for sure, Magdalena Rock, Momoka Oda. I also think Mina Markovic. I also see Helen Janiko in the top 8 for sure. Maybe also in top 3. I think she's very fit at the moment for sure. Kim Jain, Dinara is also very fit. Those are for sure the favorites there. But also Mathilde Romani, it's her home wall, and I think she really likes that wall, so she might be as well in top 8. And Katerina Posch and Akio Noguchi are also quite strong. But the first ones that I just named, they're for sure the favorite ones here in this competition.
Thing, isn't it? I think the more interesting question is who do you think could have the outside chance of getting in? You know, because we know these names. We're so used to seeing them just easily waltz their way into finals. But you know, if you could say anyone on here that could have the outside chance, the one that you think might be able to sneak into the finals there, who do you think it could be?
Well, I don't know. I would say maybe Mathilde Romani, because she isn't that often in finals.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
And here, I think here she really has a good chance to be in final, or she does have the chance. I don't know about Jenny Lavarde. I don't know her so good. I'm not so sure how fit she is at the moment, but she's also one of the more endurance types, so maybe she will even pass to finals. But, well, of the ones that are not all the time in finals, Mathilde Romani is the one with the biggest chances here, I think.
It's Evgenia as well is another one that we do often see going through into the final. She hasn't had too great a climb here today, so the chance of her going through is looking quite slim at the moment. But she is one of the ones that we usually see pushing towards the finals quite often.
Yeah, that's true. I actually forgot her even at the moment.
To go over onto the men's then for a second, I mean, I would say the same thing. I mean, you kind of know, or it's pretty much easy to say who the top 6 that are going through to the finals are going to be. I mean, you're looking at Ramone, Sachi, Jakob, Roman, Sean, Magnus, really, the ones that are definitely going to go through more often than not. We'd expect them to be there. So if you could choose the other 2 perhaps, or if you could think of some of the more, like we did with the women's, the outside chances of people getting through?
Well, I think Domen Skofic,
he's looking very strong.
He is so strong at the moment, and I actually think he's going to be in finals in this competition. It's quite probable. But also Gauthier Soupé and Thomas Ballet, they are very strong athletes, so those 3 are potential finalists here. I think Domen is actually even more than a potential finalist at the moment. He is a quite probable finalist.
Yeah.
As we remember in Arco, he was in 3rd place, so that was such
I think that's starting to become a running trend with Domen. I mean, he made his first finals last year in Atlanta and got through. It did relatively well there, but he's been kind of on the cusp of just getting into the finals frequently for the past year or so. And then now, as he's moving in, he's more used to the season, to the year now, for this being his 2nd year of competing on the senior level. He's sort of relaxed into it a little bit more. It's looking like he's having fun with it now.
Yeah, that's true. He's just getting into it, I think. And also, he's now more experienced. He has done already a few whole seasons, even with all the competitions, and I think that's quite good for him. A part of that, he is super fit this year. He also has got so much experience, and you can see it. He climbs the routes very effective, and I think from now he is actually one of the common finalists. I would suppose that. I think at the end of the year he's going to be top 8 in the whole ranking.
Just looking at where he is at the current moment in time, considering that Domon's only 19 years old. He's world ranked 14th at the moment. Climbing the World Cup rankings for this year, 2013, he's in 12th at the moment. So we are seeing Domon start to push towards that top 10 overall world ranking already. Only in his second year of the seniors. He had that tricky time at the IFSC World Youth Championship just recently in Canada, and that wasn't that yourself as well with Domon?
Yeah, it's true.
And,
also with Domon, I have had already a few battles in my first World Youth Championship there in Imst in Canada.
And it's Domon and the other new name who isn't here, which is surprising, but he's Dimitri, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dimitri Fakiryanov is just he's sort of come out of nowhere at the European Championships this year, and he's just starting to really build up.
Extreme in the semi-finals there. The only one together with Ramon to top out. It was such an impressive climbing. It's awesome, and he has also got so much endurance. I'm really wondering why he's not here this weekend. I think he would have quite good chances to be for sure in finals, but even more.
The one thing that I think is a specialty of someone like Dimitri that I've noticed more and more often every time I've seen him is that he seems to find rests in places where you wouldn't expect there to be a rest there. He just because I'm just going to settle here on this crimp and rest for a bit, and I don't know how he's just finding these places that everyone else on the ground. Like I've seen Jakob watching him and just with like a mouth hanging open, Jakob Schubert, and I'm just like, what is he doing? But he just seems to be very skilled at finding rests in odd places.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's also one of his big strengths, finding rests and having lots of endurance. He is able to hold very small holds, very tiny crimps. He is also one of the lighter athletes, I would say, and he's crimping everything, and then whenever he finds some crimp, he's able to rest and shake out his arms. That's for sure his biggest strength, I would say, and I think he's sometimes able to find rest that nobody else apart of Ramon is able to do.
Well, guys, if you're enjoying the comp so far, if you're enjoying the semi-finals, get in touch with us. You can do so on Twitter. You know where to go. It's the hashtag IFSCWC. So, you can get in touch with us on the Twitter space. Any questions you might have for either myself or my co-commentator today, Sebastian Halenki, send them in to us on Twitter as well. Question on the on one of the channels at the moment saying, what is the yellow route next to the man's route? Well, there's two actually next to the male route here at the moment. There is the speed route that you can see just in the left-hand side of the screen at the moment, but also next to the male semi-final route, there's the yellow route with the two large volumes at the start. That was actually one of the qualification routes yesterday. That's the qualification for the women's route, all of which you can find online. You can get onto the YouTube channel, IFSC's YouTube channel, and watch all of the things that we cover, every event that we've covered. You can go onto there and watch it on playback. If you want to go and get involved with a semi-final or a final from even a year or more ago, they're all on there. You can watch everything that me and Sebastian have been talking about. All the World Youth Championships are on there as well. Get on and have a look through that one. While you are doing that, get yourself onto the IFSC's Twitter and give them a follow on there as well. You keep you completely up to date with all of the latest news and information about where the IFSC is going to be next and where the World Cups are going to be held and what time they're starting. It'll give you all the information you need. That's the IFSC's Twitter. Get in touch with them as well. That is at IFSC LIMBING. So it's IFS Climbing. IFS Climbing. If you want to go and get onto the IFSC's official Twitter page. You can also follow them on Facebook as well. Type in on there on the IFSC and also Sport Climbing 2020. You can get in touch with them on Facebook as well. We hold competitions and loads of information about where all the next events are going to be. Just to give you an update on where we're going to be after we finish up things here this evening with the finals. We're going to be in 3 or 4 days' time. We will be over in Russia, in Puurc, for a lead and speed World Cup as well. Are you coming to Puurc, Sebastian?
Yes, I will be in Puurc as well.
Fantastic. So we've got that one coming up for you as well. Once we've finished in Puurc, we then go over onto the Asia Tour, which is 3 World Cups in the space of 2 weeks. We're going to be moving around all the way around Asia, China, going to Japan and Korea as well. You can find all the information on this on the IFSC's website. If you're not on there at the moment, that is ifsc-climbing.org. That is if you're watching on the YouTube or a different stream, you can get onto the IFSC website with ifsc-climbing.org. IFSC.org, and it's got the entire calendar on there as well on the left-hand side. You can see all of the events we're covering for the rest of the year as well. So we're finishing up the lead season now. What about you and bouldering, Sebastian? Are we going to see you doing some more bouldering?
Yeah, a few persons have already asked me that lots of times. Well, I would like to do at the beginning of the year sometimes a few bouldering World Cups, but the problem is actually also you have to qualify for them. So I would have to do the whole German bouldering circuit for that, and this is also basically a time problem. Together with school and training, I just don't have time to do a whole bouldering circuit. Last year I've been in one national bouldering competition, but I still remember after I think 5 sessions or 4 sessions in a row, one rest day, and then I went to this bouldering competition and I was just so tired, I wasn't even in finals. So, well, that's why I just don't get taken there, but I have my priorities on lead, so that's why for sure I will do lead, and if they take me to some bouldering World Cup, I will appreciate it and I will go there for sure. It would be an interesting thing.
Do you follow the bouldering World Cups on the IFSC stuff when you're back at home? You watch from home, yeah?
Yes, always. I'm watching every bouldering World Cup on live stream.
It's been a really, really good season this year, the bouldering. Just to deviate for a moment while we are waiting for these walls to be finished up and our next athletes. We've had a fantastic year this year on the bouldering. You guys can follow and watch all of that on the YouTube channel, the IFSC's YouTube channel, which is where Sebastian's just saying he's been re-watching everything as well, or watching it live like you guys might be now on the IFSC's website. Munich was just such a good way to end the year, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's true. It was such an amazing show. 2 years ago, I've been on the first bouldering World Cup in Munich just as watcher of the finals, but it was so amazing. There were so many people. It was comparable to the lead World Cups like in Chamonix or Briançon, where you can find so many people.
The audience, you mean, the people watching?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, we had about 7,000 people crammed into the space in front of the wall, and it's not a big space either. I mean,
No.
the Olympic Stadium is, but where we are and where the wall was, it wasn't a big space at all.
No.
We're starting to see more and more crowds building up. For me, a highlight of the bouldering year was definitely Innsbruck.
Yeah, that's
That was,
true.
and it was just such a fantastic competition. The entire setting on it was just brilliant as well. The roosters really did an amazing job.
Yeah, Innsbruck was an awesome competition, and especially for the German team as well.
Oh, well,
Thinking about
that wasn't actually a link in either, but that's led us on quite nicely, yeah. Jan Hoyer and Julia
Yeah, that
were
was awesome for the German team.
double German gold. Yeah, I
Yeah,
suppose that would be a
that
highlight
was
for you,
amazing.
wouldn't it?
Yeah,
You're
for
a bit
sure.
biased.
Yeah. But yeah, just a competition like that, looking away from that, it was amazing. It was a great show and it was a nice competition.
Yeah, it was the blocks that we had there were just fantastic. The crowd was fantastic. It was at least 10,000 people in this huge dome that we had behind there. So if you want to see any of these, by the way, the ones we're talking about, you know where to go. Get yourself onto YouTube and you can watch back any of the events that we cover on the IFSC's channel as well. So we are still in wall cleaning time, as you can probably see by the massive blue wall cleaning thing that's up on the screen at the moment. I believe they're not actually cleaning the wall though, just to confuse everything for us here. I think we're about to get started with our next athlete. We should be very shortly. We are roughly halfway through the semi-finals here in Puurs, the IFSC Climbing Lead World Cup 2013. If you have any questions for us, if you wanted to get involved in the chat at all, talk to us on Twitter. We're going to get started in a couple of months' time.
Judges, judges and of course please, we need you for the second part of the semi-finals. Please, judges, take your seats again. Judges, please. And we are waiting for the cameraman as well. Please, gentlemen, who would like to continue?
Anders moeten we die grote krant pakken.
Okay, well it looks like we are about to get things underway yet again then. We've got Jurias Trezin over on the men's route at the moment and Jenny Levada are about to start on the female route as well. So hopefully you've all had a nice break. You're going to got yourself some coffees or whatever it is you need to get through the rest of today. We're now going to get into the really exciting part where these are the highest to qualify from yesterday. We start to move into the highest to qualify from yesterday. We've got a lot of big names coming up in this second half today. We start things off with Jura and Jenny. Now, how do you think these two guys are going to be getting on with these routes then today?
Well, I'm quite curious about Jenny, how she's going to do in the bouldering movements. I know she's having lots of endurance, but for the bouldering movements, sometimes they work out well, sometimes not. So, yeah, I'm curious about this. This might be a little bit hard for her, but if she gets well over those movements, she could get really high in this route. And for Jury, I think he's also quite fit. And if he gets good over the slab part in the roof, he might be able to climb quite a long while. So I'm curious, but at the moment he seems to be quite good and quite solid in the slab. So I hope he might get really far in this route, because he actually does have lots of strength and as well lots of endurance.
Now, Jenny is world ranked 16th at the moment. She's World Cup ranked this year in 18th place. Very, very frequent semi-finalist, but has never taken a medal on the IFSC circuits.
Jenny Lafarga is 18. In 2006, she was the first Italian woman who climbs HC plus in Arco. On the Claudio Cafe.
So, Jenny at 29 years old, now pushing up for the point that you were talking about, Seb.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. If she does the next movement, she might get really a lot further on this route. And she does take the rest there where I said on this volume. And now let's see. But she is still taking her time. She always takes really much time on the routes because she has lots of endurance, so she is able to stay a long time on the wall. Yeah, she did it. Nice.
Well, that looked pretty secure.
Yeah. And I think the next movements are going to go quite good for her. And also Jury here looking a little bit pumped, but let's see if he does the next movement. I think he is going quite well again on the route. Oh. Yeah, really good. And there he should take some rest, I think, and then he will be a little bit fresher again for the next movements.
Yeah, he's looking pretty pumped at the moment. And he had a shake in his leg then as he started to reach out to the wall to try and take a moment to rest. It's good that he's taking the time here now. Jenny, though, pushing up into the higher section of the wall. Now, we haven't really seen much of this. We've only seen a couple of people up at this point. So Jenny now taking another chance to rest, which we saw earlier on as well. This is the point we were talking about, you go into those 2 pinches and then 3 or 4, all in all, quite powerful moves straight after this point as well. So this could be another crux point for Jenny here.
But she's having quite good rest. I think it's a quite comfortable one for her. So the next movements, if she's going over them quite fast, maybe she will get close to the high point or get a new high point.
First pinch and then the second.
Yeah.
Second one looks like a nicer hold than the first. Yeah, she's taking a moment on that one now as well. The second pinch there on the right.
Yeah, the second pinch is better, and I think it's an easier clip than from up. Oh, Jury's down.
That was not a bad effort at all though from Ewan there. He's up in the top 4 or 5 athletes that have managed to get past the that first pinch onto the grey hold. Jenny's now starting to approach a tricky point here.
And she's still looking quite solid. Pumped, but still solid.
Keep an eye on her left leg here. So this is the point that we notice on most of the female athletes. If they start to shake here on the left leg, then that's when they go, which is exactly what's happened. Unfortunately for Jenny.
Yeah, also for Anak was this movement quite hard, but she did it solid. It was amazing. You could see she was pumped there, but she just did it. It was so impressive.
There's such a small amount of space to get your toe on the left onto that point. You're relying there on keeping all the pressure on the toe as much as you can. It's very, very small.
Yeah.
You see.
And you get kind of an open door there. That's why she tried to do this toe hook, but it didn't really work. I think Anak Verhoeven was matching her feet there actually.
On the small with the left hand, the left hand foot. Wow, okay. Well, Min Hyundin now comes out for Korea. About to get started. This is definitely, you know, it depends. I think he's the kind of guy that either has a good day or a bad day.
Yeah, that's
But when he
true.
has a good day, he makes finals. That's all we say. You know, if it is a good day for him, he'll be in the finals.
Yeah,
if
for
he's
sure.
having a bad day, it could be a ridiculously early fall. But it's an interesting one to watch, Min Hyundin.
But he is always strong enough to be for sure in finals. But yeah, sometimes he's just having some bad day and then he may slip away or something like that. This sometimes has happened to him already. But I think if he's making everything right, then he will be in these finals for sure. I'm
Yeah,
curious where he is getting, because he will, if he has a good day, set a new high point for sure on this route.
You know, he's 24 years old, and his world ranking suggests that he should make finals. He's world ranked 7th. His World Cup rank this year 7th. You know, he has won. He's taken a gold at a World Cup event. That was last year in Mokpo. Albeit on home turf, it's still a gold medal at an IFSC World Cup, you know, so he's well within his capabilities of managing to get there. He's also an Asian continental bouldering champion. So some of the more bouldery moves that he gets into a little bit later on, he's going to be a little bit more used to dealing with those as well.
Yeah,
but
he's so strong.
Very frequent finalist. I mean, we saw him in Imst just recently. He came 4th there. This year, that is, at Imst. So I think it's just going to be whether he's having a good or a bad day. And Yuka Kobayashi is more or less exactly the same. If she's having a good day, she makes finals. If she's having a bad day, she doesn't. So both of these athletes now could be putting in either a fantastic climb or quite an interesting climb at the very least. Worth keeping your eyes on. Yuka then, as I said, she's one of those, what I would say is the dark horse of the competition for me. I never seem to spend much time watching her. I don't know why. I don't dislike her, I promise. She's world ranked 14th, World Cup ranked 17th at the moment. Made finals in Imps 2012, also Briançon 2012, Huaji 2010, Zinning 2010, where she took a silver medal at the league competition there. Second at the Asia Championships in Guangzhou in China in 2008. But a frequent semi-finalist in general, if not a finalist as well, Yuka. More than capable enough of trying to push forward towards a final placement. And let Sebastian talk us through what these athletes are doing at the moment. We'll start off with Yuka for the moment in time.
Well, Yuka is still quite at the entrance of the route, so she has still got quite a lot of movements to go till the first crooks, but there on the gray structure will be the first uncomfortable movements for her. I'm quite curious how she's going to get through them, but so far she's looking quite solid and still relaxed, and I hope here she will do everything just right. And Hyun Bin Min, he's already quite high on the wall. He's also one of the faster climbers in this competition, and he's still looking so strong and solid, not pumped at all. Now passing the first crooks, doing it easily from the pinch to the gray volume. And I think now he'll be taking a little rest. And after that rest, it will be more interesting, and then might be hard for him the first time as well. But so far he's just looking still so relaxed. And also Yuka Kobayashi was doing the first uncomfortable movement quite solid, now taking a little rest as well. Now approaching to the first orange hold. Quite good. And also here Hyun Bin Min making the cross movement really relaxed without any troubles. His physical conditions there is so impressive. I would say he's one of the fittest climbers here for sure. And yeah, just like we said before, if he doesn't do any mistake, he's for sure in finals, but he may even win. He is having big possibilities in all the competitions and all the World Cups. Yuka Kobayashi climbing over the first crooks movement, the dynamic one. And now also Hyun Bin going further up on the route, still looking solid, not pumped at all. I still remember when I saw him training in Cali, it was so impressive. He was taking just footholds sometimes to get himself pumped. He's definitely one of the physical strongest climbers. And Yuka Kobayashi down, that's a pity. really unexpected there. Wow, Hyunbin is still looking so solid. Still quite relaxed. Getting very close to the top. Now coming to the edge. And from this edge there, just a few movements to the top. It's not much anymore that's missing. Wow. And now, wow. That was a really strong climb of him. This will be for sure enough for finals. It was amazing.
Well, don't speak too soon. I would say absolutely that should hopefully get him into the finals. He's only a few moves away there at the end, but we've still got a lot of very, very talented young male athletes to come out yet. We've got Francesco Vetterata up next. Thomas Ballet, as you were saying yourself, you know, and Gauthier Super for France. Before we move on to Domen, we have Manu, Magnus, Sean, Roman, Jakob, Sachi, and Ramone still yet to come. You know, and there's more than 8 there, all within the capability of possibly pushing past that point. So a fantastic climb from Min Hyun-bin, and I really hope that it's enough to see him into the finals. But we've got so many more still yet to come. Rebecca Stutz starting off here. Yuka Kobayashi just.
Yeah, Yuka Kobayashi, she fell quite unexpected there. It was a pity actually that she fell. I don't know really why she got to fall there, but she still looked quite relaxed and solid. I think it was just not her day, not her climb, as we just said before. If she has a good day, she's in finals. If she has a bad day, she's not, and well, I guess that's what happened to her. And now for the female athletes, Rebecca Stotz on the wall, climbing quite fast into the first movements. And I think actually for the bouldering movements, she also has quite good possibilities to get strong through them, because she has quite a lot maximal power actually. I have been once in Switzerland, staying in her home for 1 week and training with the Swiss team, and I have to say they are all so nice. The whole Swiss team, they're really sympathetic people, and yeah, I've got to train with her, and it was a very nice time that I spent there. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago.
No Cedric at this comp. Where's the Shat?
Yeah, it's strange. I actually don't know where he is, but I would expect him to come here. I still remember last year he was doing so good here. I think he was 3rd or 2nd, I'm not so sure, but he was so good.
Well, Rebecca Stotz now then on the wall, 21 years old from Erdorf, world ranked 21st, World Cup ranked so far this year 15th. And that's due to IMSH just recently, where she came 10th overall. Also competed in the World Championships in Paris and came 15th there, so made semis, a frequent semi-finalist. Last medal for her was in Pau in France in 2011, where she came 3rd. She had a bronze medal at the Female Junior League European Youth Cup there. Rebecca, again, now one of the younger athletes pushing forward into the seniors. So saying that, Jakob is only 22.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have a lot of, you know, like Domen as well, very, very young, that have had actually quite a lot of experience on the circuit. And I would say that Rebecca's another one of those. You know, she has been competing at senior level for quite a while now. On the other side then, Francesco Vetterata of Italy.
Also a very strong climber, having a lot of endurance. And also this year got really solid in the semi-finals. And I think for him it's also as well the same. If he is having a good day, he even might get into finals. Maybe this one will be his route because he is having lots of endurance, so I'm curious about his climb.
Well, he's always a frequent high semi-finalist.
Yeah.
Vetterata, you know.
Always getting close to top 10 or even top 10.
Looking at the previous results, I mean, the best that we've got in the past, you know, few attempts at the European Championship in Chamonix this year, he came 13th. He came 12th at Briançon in France this year, 20th at IMST, so he's actually had a bit of a bad turn of events at the last one for him. Let's hope that he can put on a show for us here now as he's starting to move up towards another tricky section here. These next few moves, let's see how he gets on now moving forward.
And actually still looking quite solid here. Was doing this crux movement really statically, quite relaxed still. About the next section, I'm quite curious how you'll do it. I think it's kind of tricky to find the right solution there. If crossing, if matching.
Rebecca starting to look a little bit shaky here at this point, a little bit pumped. Is she going to have enough in her to try and get over these next couple of moves? No.
Yeah, didn't get the foothold right, so you're not able to spend there too much time. If you do a few mistakes, then you're just off the wall.
And she didn't match on the spherical the hold either. You know, getting that left and then following with the right, then moving your feet over seems to be quite critical at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I hope everyone's all right. You're all enjoying the coverage. You're all very quiet today. You can get in touch with us, as always, on Twitter using the hashtag IFSCWC. Where are you joining us from? Where are you watching us from right now? And are any of you coming down this evening for the finals here in Puurs? Let us know if you're going to be amidst the crowd when we hit the finals later on tonight. More of an electric atmosphere. Now, is it just me, or did Francesco take a different beta around that point then? It seemed he didn't go round to the left-hand side much at all there. Tried to stay on the right.
Yeah, he was at first extending, and then he went with the left into the pocket. And after that, setting a heel hook. But I think somewhere he just got tired on the star volume, as he didn't find early enough the right solution. I think he just wasted a little bit of energy there, taking a bit too long. So that's what took him down.
Well, you can see down on the ground then the roof section we were talking about. It is very, very long and large. And you see the middle section there is the top of the speed wall, but actually to either side of that you can still see the incline even as low as just where the IFSC symbol is in the bottom right hand side here. The incline just steadily increases all the way along here. And when you get into that main roof section, you're kind of more or less horizontal in the midsection there. We're about to welcome our next athlete out on the female route now, and that will be Salome Roman. Another one that's very young and just starting to move on to pushing forward against the seniors. Fantastic young athlete, though, 17 years old, lives in Briançon. And looking at previous results then for the European Youth Cups predominantly, she has 2 silver medals here, one at the European Youth Cup in Edinburgh 2012, another one at Pau in 2011, a bronze medal at the World Youth Championships in Singapore last year. I'm interested as to the reason why Jessica Pills isn't here as well.
No, I don't really know. Actually, I'm training quite a lot in Innsbruck, and in the times that I'm training lots in Innsbruck, I'm getting to know more things, but lately I haven't been lots traveling around this year because of school troubles and never having time. So I don't really know about what's going on, but it's strange because she's also one of the climbers who would have actually quite good final chances in this competition. As we remember, IMST.
So strong in IMST.
She was doing such an amazing performance there.
And you know, she'd just taken the title at IMST for the European youth, roughly a week or 3 or 4 days before the actual main event there. And again, she was looking so strong. She was really challenging like Kim Yain and a lot of the big names. And it's interesting that she's not here actually.
Yeah, it's strange, but I don't know as well. And I think this also would be normally her wall, coming from IMST, which is lots of endurance here as well. Well, who knows?
Big shout out then to Greg Russell, who is joining us and saying, just started watching from Tokyo. Now want to head to the gym and get stuck in myself. Very nice. Nice to know that we're giving some people a bit of inspiration around the world, and thank you for joining us all the way from Tokyo as well. Over on the men's route then, at the moment, we're with Thomas Ballet, and this is another one that could very easily make it through into finals today. If he's focused and he isn't going to rush too quickly through this first section of the roof here, once he gets onto the latter half, he should have the endurance to push for the top.
Yeah, for sure. Already yesterday he had such a strong performance in the qualification routes. It was really nice to watch him. He actually always climbed right before me, so I always could watch how to do the route. But afterwards, after my climbing yesterday, I was always frustrated because yesterday in my climbs I was quite far away of that. But he's having a very nice and economic style. He climbs very fluent and he doesn't waste much energy. So I think he's one of the climbers who are having good potential to get in this finals. And let's wish him best luck.
I've never heard it referred to that way before, but I think that's a really great word to use, actually. An economical style, you know.
Really, in German we always say that.
Ah, okay.
He's climbing economically.
So it's sort of saving it and not pushing too quick. You
Yeah,
mean, you know?
exactly. That's what I mean with that.
Yeah, I don't think in England we'd be saying it's an economic style at the moment. We're not entirely proud of the economy at the moment, so we don't really talk about it that much.
Well, I think Germany neither, actually.
Well, let's wish Thomas all the best. You know, he's currently World Cup ranking for this year. He's in 7th. He's world ranked 13th. He's only 24 years old. He came 6th just recently and put on a great show there with Gautier as well. The two of them looking really strong. And again here, right next to each other, putting in equal performances more or less from yesterday. You know, Gautier is going to be out straight after Thomas finishes here. He came 10th at Briançon this year, 12th at Chamonix. So he's just steadily been increasing from the start of this year, obviously settling into the season. Last year he came 6th at Chamonix, he came 5th at Cran at the very final World Cup at the end of the year. But you know, he's got a lot of experience in the Senior World Cups. He's used to being here and used to the pressure, used to controlling his climb, and that's exactly what he needs to do on a wall like this with this type of route.
Yeah, for sure.
Just for anyone that's joining us again just now for the first time, hello if you are just tuning in. This is the semi-finals in Puurs. Just to give you those route gradings again then. So it's an 8A plus for the women's that Salome is on at the moment, and it is an 8B plus for the men's. These are rough estimates provided by our chief route setter here, Christian Bindhammer. Had a nice chat to him at the start, and we're also going to be talking to him later on during the finals about what he's got in store for us later on this evening. Just to keep you updated as well about what's going to be happening after this. We're going to be taking a short break. It will only be a couple of hours. We're due to start local time here for the finals with the presentation of the athletes at 5:10. So it's a lot earlier than we're used to seeing finals, usually starting around 7:30, but it's going to be around 5:10 local time to us for the presentation of the athletes. We'll be live with you a little bit before that one, but when we finish up here in about half an hour's time, maybe a bit more than that, we're going to be taking a brief break. Risky move there for Salome, but she's managed to hold on to it.
And I think slowly being quite pumped. She's off. Thomas Ballet is still really strong here on the wall. I think he's having a really good climb right now. Still not on his borderlines, it's so awesome.
Trying to see how his arms are looking at the moment, forearms, and trying to see whether he's looking to. He's got a bit of a pump going on here. A little bit of a shake in the left, but
wow,
it's
but
not
still hanging.
too bad. It's still strong at the moment.
So amazing. Yeah.
This is good now. Can he stick that next move?
That was a
pretty
brilliant
impressive.
climbing.
Really, really strong climb as well. A little bit further than her Min. Was that a little bit further than Min?
No. That was still before me.
Oh, it's still before Min.
Yeah, just 2 movements, but it was very impressive climbing. Let's see if it will be enough for finals.
Shout out to Mr. Graham Alderson. The weather's actually improved, Graham. Asking how the weather is here. Yesterday it's absolutely freezing. We were talking earlier, Seb, about how cold it was for the athletes and how they had to deal with the weather problems, And today it's gone a little bit sunny now. Thankful for that. It's still quite cool. It's almost perfect conditions now. I mean, it's starting to get towards this. This is how you want it to be for these guys on the wall.
Yeah, right now the weather conditions should be quite good for semi-finalists compared to yesterday. Yesterday it was so cold, but today it's lots better. Also with a little bit of sun, it's way nicer.
And Cam Harrison getting in touch all the way from Australia saying, I wish I had a wall like this at home. I think you might find it quite difficult to flat pack this and get it across to you though, Cam. I mean, it's pretty big. So we're with Mathilde Bromijn now for Belgium. This is another one that you highlighted at the start, Sebastian. You thought that Mathilde has a high chance of being one of those outside athletes that's just going to slip their way into the final here. You think she's going to put on a good performance here?
Yeah, I'm curious how she's going to do in the bouldering movements. She is also one of the very endurance climbers. She has lots of fitness. But I think on the bouldering movements, also her size could be good for her because she's quite tall. So for a few movements, she won't have to do them so dynamic, to do them so fast, because she will just reach it. So maybe if everything goes good for her and she has a good climb, she will be in finals. I think that it's quite probable here. And also it's her home wall and her home crowd, and I think that's a little kind of advantage.
Do you think she's going to be spending, or she's going to be trying to, as you're saying there, go a lot more static through that dynamic move a bit further on? You think she's going to try and do it with, kind of just squeezing the route out to try and get to the next hold as opposed to popping up for it?
Yeah, I think so. She actually often tries to do this for longer movements that you normally have to do a little bit faster. She tries to do it a little bit slow and just reach it as static as possible because that's kind of her climbing style. And she's able to do it like this because she is one of the very tall athletes for the female category.
Well, over on the other wall now we have Gauthier Super. This is the athlete we were talking about a few moments ago in comparison to Thomas Ballet, who's just come out and put in a fantastic performance on this wall. Actually, Gauthier this year is actually doing better than Thomas. He's in 5th place on the World Cup rankings for 2013, Gauthier. He's only 22 years old. His world ranking is 19th at the moment. But he came 7th in Imst, 7th in Briançon, so 2 finals already this year, 10th at the European Championships in Chamonix. Looking at previous years, then took a bronze medal in Zinning in 2010. That was the last time that Gauthier took home a medal for France. But he's more than capable of at least matching the climb that we've just seen from Thomas.
Yeah, it's true. This year he became very, very strong already. The years before he was already a frequent semi-finalist, but this year he has been, I think, in every final, just like you said, and also in finals doing very good performances. I think, yeah, he is one of the persons who have also quite a good chance to reach this final here. And watching the route, I think you actually even have to climb quite far up to be in finals. Watching the last 2 climbers, they came so far in this route.
Yeah, for the men's it's a total of 52 holds all in all, and we're looking at this point where they're getting up to the 51st, well the 50th really, the 50th and 51st is where they're reaching for. We just saw Thomas slapping up, I think, for the 50th hold.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was going from the 49th.
Is it the 49th he was reaching for there? The one that he just tapped?
Yeah.
The one just below it. So, they're only 3 moves away from the top, and that's, Min Hyunbin was higher than that.
Yeah,
so
he fell on the 50th move. He fell from 50 to 51, so he is going to have 50 plus, I guess.
So you are having to do 99% of this route to get anywhere near the final, really, now.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
So they've definitely done their job, the route setters. They've made it very tough for these guys. Well, this is the move we were talking about, Mathilde. Let's see how she does this one. Is she going to try and just squeeze up as high as she can get and reach for it, or is she going to go for the pop?
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting here. But now still taking a little rest. She's resting lots on the routes, and well, she's able to rest lots.
And she's trying to squeeze up to it. There you are.
Just like you said.
She's taking the more, you can definitely see the lead climber in her there. Then.
For sure. Well, it worked.
If you've got the strength to do it and you're not going to get too pumped by doing it, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, the dyno is a risky move.
Yeah, for sure. But I think now she's there with the wrong hand. I think that's not so good because she has to match it. I think that's a bit uncomfortable there. but she has got the next hold very well. Now Gauthier also on the first, well, on the second tricky part of the route, there on the roof on the gray star volume. Still looking quite fresh. Let's see what he still can do here. And Mathilde taking a very uncommon rest on this route. Nobody has rested there so far, I think. And now Gauthier moving on. Now looking a little bit tired actually. But he's also one of the climbers who are able to fight for a very long time. Even if he's pumped, he's still able to do a few movements and fight through the routes. It's very good ability for World Cups and very important. Now moving further, cross movement, and now it starts really getting interesting for him.
So is she taking the rest here that we've seen beforehand? She's got a moment to take some chalk. Yeah, she's going to have a bit of a shakeout there as well. Gautier's looking really good here though.
Yeah, Gauthier is really far.
He's just got to keep pushing at this point now. 2 or 3 more moves and he's got himself into a nice position for the finals. Unfortunately, that
and just one movement before Thomas Ballet.
Just a little bit below his teammate Thomas Ballet. Will it be enough?
Let's see.
Mathilde then moving up onto this next section.
And now Mathilde getting on a very interesting part of the route. And there you can see her, that how she sometimes really takes the advantage of being longer than other persons. It was really crazy how she could still reach this.
Got a hand onto it, she's got to get the next one on and then swing that foot across. Going for a heel hook on the right instead here.
Oh, that's a good heel hook. Now even taking a little rest there.
Fortunately, couldn't
Just
quite
a little
hold
bit
it.
too low.
That was a vital move there, that crossover. Mathilde Romain, 6-time gold medalist at a junior event on the European Youth Series, but as of the start of this year and as of now has never taken gold at a senior IFSC event. Is it going to be enough to see her into the finals? We hope it is, but we're not sure. Anak is looking good at the moment.
Yeah, Anak is looking so strong still. I think she still got the high point of the route. And now I'm curious with Domen Skovic here on the wall, maybe seeing a new high point on this male route.
We could see a top if he's in the zone at the moment. Then we could see a top.
Yeah.
Interesting, actually. He's clearly been talking to Sean McCall. Do you know why I know he's been talking to Sean McCall?
No.
Because I've never seen Domen do this whole hand chalk thing before, and this is exactly what you watch when Sean comes out.
Yeah,
he looks like
true.
a mime artist whenever Sean comes out, because he's got these like completely white hands down to his wrist.
Yeah, it's
This is
true.
what I mean about, the experience is settling in now with Domen, and he's trying different tactics with things. He's obviously been talking to some of the other athletes because he's gone for the mime artist angle.
Yeah, Sean McCall always has all over white hands.
Yeah. You think there's any advantage to that? I mean, if you're doing hand jams, I can imagine that would help in some sort of way, but I don't know whether we're going to be getting any on this wall. And do you think there is an advantage to having it all over, or do you think?
I don't really know, actually. Maybe if you're sweeting in another place of your hand and the sweet slows down, I'm not so sure. I really don't know. But I think also my hands and my trousers always look white after my climbings. because I'm almost eating the chalk, I guess. Yeah. I'm quite often having white face after training, using lots of chalk.
Well, Domin looks pretty calm at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
It's time to move towards the roof section, and as he starts to do that, we welcome Akio Noguchi out. Now, this is one of the ones we said earlier we were looking forward to, because we want to see how she's going to deal with this more bouldery style of route. You know, being a special, you know, she's well ranked number 2 in the bouldering. Let's see how Akio gets on with this one. Then, you know, the only thing that's going to really cause her to get into trouble would be the endurance side of stuff at this route. But then, you know, she climbed so well in the qualifications yesterday.
That's true, and also lately she has got so much endurance.
Arco as well.
Watching her in Arco, it was impressive, her climbing. So I think the endurance is quite good on her at the moment, so she will... I think she's going to do a quite good performance on this route.
It's nice, I think, to see it happening the other way round, because normally it's the lead athletes that come across the bouldering.
Yeah,
it's nice to see some of the mainly bouldering athletes now starting to come across the lead. You know, we had Mina Markovic, who's predominantly a lead athlete, coming across to the bouldering. Jakob Schubert, who's predominantly a lead athlete, coming across to the bouldering. Sean doing the same thing, and now we're starting to see some of the boulderers come across to the lead.
Yeah, it's really uncommon.
We saw Dmitry Sharafutinov, if you remember, in
I remember
Chamonix.
it in Chamonix.
It was just fascinating to see the difference there. You know, Dmitry, if you don't know, Dimitri's our, I think he's got all 3 titles behind his belt now. He's got the World Championship title. Was it the Euro or was that Killian?
That was Killian.
It was Killian for the Euro. So it wasn't. He doesn't have all 3. He has the World Championship boulder title. He has the overall World Cup title for this year as well in the bouldering also. And he's world ranked number 1 in bouldering. And he came across to do the lead in Chamonix, and it was fascinating to see someone who is so strong in bouldering struggling with the endurance in Arco.
Yeah.
You could tell he was just not having that good of a time of it. And he can also climb speed. That's the other interesting thing. He did the speed route in about 7 seconds.
It's true.
It was really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, Dimitri is very talented.
Shouts of Gamba coming in from Greg Russell. Joining us from Tokyo on Twitter at the moment as Akio starts to climb now. These next few moves are her style.
Yeah, I think she's going to look quite good in them. And Domin climbing a bit back and forward.
See, Akio just so relaxed with something like that pop there, with the one hand and then resting into it a little bit, grabbing a bit of chalk from that position before moving on to the next one. You know, this is where she's in her element, really. The next 4 or 5 could get quite tricky for her again, but then there's another boulder section towards the top. I think Akio has the potential to do really well here. We could even, if she's really fighting for it, we could see our first top here for the women's route.
Yeah, that's true. If she has enough endurance there on top, she might even really top out this route. She's still looking so good. There was not any movement that was giving her any troubles.
Not so far, no. And again, like, Domin's looking really good here as well.
A little bit pumped, but
yeah, he's starting to get a little bit pumped, but I can never tell with Domin. A little bit of a shake in the left hand there.
But Domin, even if he's pumped, he's still able to move so far.
That's what I mean. I can never tell. There are certain athletes that you see them getting pumped, and you know that the next 2 moves are going to just take them off the wall. Domin, you know, you're saying he's pumped. I'm seeing a little bit of a shake in the left. Right doesn't look too bad at the moment, but
and now he's
you know,
shaking there.
and he's shaking.
I almost expected it from him. He has really got lots of endurance fitness.
Akio spotting that second rest there as well, taking the time to do that one. Still good for Domin at the moment. Bit of a shake in the leg here. This could be a little bit risky for him. He's got it. Is he going to be able to hold it? Oh, that's the question.
And now he has to clip.
Now he's really pumped. Now you can tell he's really pumped. The right arm's going now as well.
Able to clip it? Oh no.
It could be enough. It could be enough. That was a reach up for the 51st, I believe. He was on the 50th there.
Yeah, just like Hyun Bin. But
yeah,
I'm not
just
sure
like-
if he has clipped or not.
Oh, I see. Here's an interesting one. Now, the rules on the IFSC about clipping are you can climb past a clip as long as some part of your body is still below that clip. If you're traversing and there's a clip below you, again, you can climb up and over the clip as long as you're not going too far past the clip that you need to then go back again. So that it's a bit of it's an interesting situation to be in. It's like, because that one there, the clip was quite far below him. But
But he
it's
still
whether
could clip.
it's still possible that his body was still around the same area, so I don't think they're going to penalise him for that.
Wow, Akio really pumped there. Just like a Nak Verhoeven.
So that obviously got into her shoulders a little bit there. She was in an uncomfortable position, and she'd already hit that point where she was pumped. She had rested a bit before, but it's like we were saying, they've got that second rest and then straight into 3 or 4 really powerful moves that just sap it out of you again straight away. And you can see that she was feeling it there as well. So it is a matter of endurance, I think. With the kid.
Yeah, up there for sure. It's really a matter of endurance.
But still, a fantastic climb for
Yeah,
someone who is a bouldering specialist,
She climbed awesome, and I think and hope it will be enough for finals.
Manuel Roman now then for France.
One of the very strong French climbers. I think he's had an injury last year and got to struggle with that a little bit on his belly muscles.
I think that might have been the year before, because he was around quite a bit last year.
Wasn't
It might
it
have been
last year?
it might have been that he was just healing up for Briançon, because he was at Briançon last year, and I remember seeing him quite a bit. I know exactly what you're on about.
Yeah, he was in Briançon, but not in Chamonix.
So maybe it was around that point.
I think it was last year because
he's-
he was there and
Yeah, he strained, didn't he, his stomach? I was talking to Sheila about it last year, and I'm trying to remember when that was, but I remember he was saying that I remember that he did have that injury, had to take some time out. There's another French athlete that had a clip go through his arm as he fell. I was talking to Sheila about it. It's a really interesting story. I'm going to have to try and remember at some point so I can tell you all about it. But there's another French athlete that had a really, really bad fall, and I don't know how it happened, but ended up literally hanging from a clip in the arm.
That's awful. And here you can also see in the slab his experience. He is climbing so effective here.
Fast.
It's going fluent, fast, effective. He doesn't waste anywhere power, and I think there you can really see the more experienced climbers are going the fastest through this slab section. And on the left here, climbing Katharina Posch in the women route. Also quite a strong athlete, and with a high potential of reaching this finals here tonight. Training together with the Austrian team in Innsbruck in the climbing gym in Tivoli, where I'm actually also quite often going on weekends to train. It's an awesome climbing gym there, and she trains there together with the other strong Austrian climbers, Jakob Schubert, Mario Lechner, and so on.
Well, Sebastian, it's looking like you were right. I have to apologise for that one, because when I'm looking at the results here, there's a big drop-off around 2012. Mokpo came fourth, Manuel. But that was the only result that he's got up here for 2012, where he's very, very present in 2011.
Yeah, 2011 he was really present. That's why I thought it was also last year.
Getting myself confused with that one. And I'm not entirely sure how he did it, because I know that he's a very keen paraglider as well. There's plenty of videos of him out online. He goes paragliding constantly in Briançon, up to the top of the mountain, jumps off with the pack and pulls the cord and does all his spins and whatever. And I'm not sure whether that was an accident from paraclimbing or whether it was a paragliding or whether it was a climbing accident. But I do remember him having a massive strain injury on the stomach, and he had to take time off. I thought it was just longer ago. He's clearly back in good form now, though. You know, you're saying yourself at the start of this competition, there's a lot of core work going on here on the men's route.
Yeah, but he is really good back on stage, I would say.
Yeah.
Doing really good climbing. So far in this route, looking really relaxed.
Katarina, we saw her over in Canada just recently, competing at the World Youth Championships, and she's another one that's just pushing towards the cusp of getting into the finals on a frequent basis.
Yeah, she's like always on the borderline. Either she is in finals or she's slightly out.
Only 19 years old, Katarina. World Cup ranking this year is 7th place. Her world ranking is 10th. She came 7th at Briançon this year. Just missed out on the finals at the European Championships in Chamonix. She came 9th there. Looking at the results for last year, though, 5th at Atlanta. And the year before that, 2011 really was her year on the IFSC lead senior circuit. She took a bronze medal in Zinning 2011, a silver in Cran in 2011. She has gold medals from the Female Youth A Lead Series as well. Finished up at the World Cup rankings at the end of 2011 in 5th place, Katarina. She's from Imst.
And Manuel's still looking really good here. Still shaking. Not too pumped.
We saw this with Domen. I mean, Domen was starting to look pumped around here, but these next 2 or 3 moves, he deteriorated very, very quickly. Let's see whether Manuel is going to be able to counter that a little bit. Starting to get a little bit of a pump in the left arm now. It's this move, the move around here looking really, really tough.
And he also hasn't clipped.
So where are they? Where is the optimum point to be clipping then? You think before they reach the lip? You think they should clip ahead when they're still on the main section of the wall before they reach the lip at the top, before they move on to the 49th and 50th? So somewhere down around the 47th and 48th, reach forward and then clip there before moving up.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're still able to clip on the 49th hold of the height, but
it just looks awkward, doesn't it? At that point, it just looks like it's in such a, and like you saw there from Manu, he turned around again and was like, "Well, how am I going to get that?" And then
and I think it's also quite pumpy there, and the hold is really bad. It's like a sloper crimp, so clipping from there will be quite hard, I guess. So I think the best would be to clip from about 47th hold, I think. But I'm very curious about the last athletes here out there are going to do it, and if we are going to see some top here.
I think we will definitely see a top.
Yeah, I think maybe
both.
not even just one. I think maybe about 2, 3.
I completely agree there. I think looking at the men's grouping that we've still got left then, so Manuel Roman has just finished up. Our next athlete is Magnus Mimbo. This is kind of more towards his style. He's got a lot of muscle structure in the shoulders, and that's going to help him out in the latter half if he can get up to that section as well. He climbed really well yesterday in the qualifications. Sean, one of the shorter athletes here. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on with this one.
Sean has always lots of maximal power.
Yeah. But then we saw him in Arco, and I was talking to Sean yesterday. He was saying he felt like he was a little bit out of sync with himself at the start of this season. He's not been doing too well. at the very beginning of this one. He thinks, he spent a lot of time training, much like yourself, maybe thinking about overtraining a little bit too much.
Yes.
Well, I think we'll definitely see a top here from. I would be surprised if Jakob doesn't top here.
Yeah, and for Sachi as well, and for
I think
Ramon.
Sachi has the endurance, and I think Ramon. Again, the height could play into an issue here with Ramon though, and there are some bouldery sections, but he does like the endurance side of things. So we'll wait and see on that one. For the women, then we could have a potential first top here with Ellen Janikov.
Yes, for sure.
If it's not, I think we have Kim Jae-in next after her, and I think we might see a top there from her.
Yeah, I think Kim Jae-in has also a very big potential to top this route, just like Helen as well.
We were talking about, Akio Noguchi having, she's a boulderer coming into the lead, and that would help her on that route. And we saw it did at the start. Akio was fine with the boulder section. It was just the endurance that was a problem for her. But someone like Kim Jae-in, where she's a lead athlete that does do bouldering as well, this is perfect for her. This is the kind of route that she's done a lot of bouldering this year. She's used to that sort of style, but she's also predominantly a lead athlete, so she has the endurance.
Yeah. She has increased her endurance so much by training.
I think Magnus could have a really good run here.
Yeah, I think as well. He's climbing quite good inside of here. Quite strong.
And based on his performance from yesterday and the kind of athlete he is, he's a very power-based climber.
Yeah, Magnus is having lots of maximal power actually. He's also very strong in bouldering. If you see him in training, he does also very hard boulders. I have once trained with him in Innsbruck, a few boulders, and I met him in a climbing gym in Chamonix, and I was bouldering with him as well, and he has got lots of power there. It's awesome. And as well, lots of endurance. He's for sure one of the fittest climbers here. And also Helen is a very fit climber. Had a quite good start this year. Has lots of endurance for sure. Climbing actually also quite effective and fast. And I think if she is self-confident and moving through the wall fast, then it will be good.
Ellen had a fantastic start to the year so far.
Yeah.
She skyrocketed on the rankings. She had that gold, remember, in Briançon.
Yeah, that was last year.
And I think that confidence of getting the gold last year in Briançon has sort of just it's pushed her onto the next level.
Yeah.
And you can see that in how she's improved from last year to this year, and how her rankings are moving as well. She ended up in 5th place on the overall World Cup rankings last year, so her world ranking is still now 5th, but the World Cup ranking for this year, she's 3rd.
Yeah,
so she's gone up again on that one, and you look at the results as well for this year. 3 results at the top. Chamonix European Championship bronze medal.
They're amazing.
Onto Briançon, in France, bronze medal again. She came 4th in IMP. She's consistently making finals now.
Yes.
And not just that, but she's consistently challenging the medals.
Yeah, she is getting so many medals in such a short time this year.
The other thing to bear in mind, though, of course, she's frequently challenging the medals on the senior circuit, but as early as last year, she was still in the female juniors league European Youth Championship.
Yeah.
So, still on the youth circuits as well.
Yeah, she is still one of the quite young athletes here and already moving up so much in the World Cup circuit. I think also for the future, I think quite good potential to reach the very top.
Lead, like new, pushing the top of the hopefuls for France.
Yeah.
She really has emerged as suddenly being an exceptional lead climber.
Yeah. Well,
not that she hasn't had a history
here.
of that on the youth cups as well, but she's just one of those ones that's made the transition to the seniors seem very easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Went quite fast.
She didn't really rest there at that last point.
Yeah.
She's pushed ahead into the powerful section ahead of it.
I think that was maybe not so good, because this was a quite good rest, I think. Let's hope she will still have the power to move on.
Well, she is really moving now. She's going to take a bit of a rest here, but the look of things.
Whoa.
Here you are then, Magnus, exactly as I said. I thought he could do well here. And there it is, our first top of the day.
That's awesome.
It was just his route. It was
Yeah,
a lot more suited to his style, very power-based.
He so good.
He was so strong yesterday as well. Magnus Midtbo, absolutely exceptional, giving us our first top of the day, and definitely now, due to where we are on the list, definitely earning a place in the finals. So Magnus Midtbo is through. Ellen now, this is the point where we lost Akio and where we also lost Anak, and now we're losing Ellen there as well.
Yeah, I think
it's that split point with the shoulders. The interesting thing is that the next athlete out is Kim Jae-in. She's very, very light. She's very, very short, but she also has an extremely wide ape.
Yeah,
her ape index is insane. Like, her shoulders are so wide apart.
Yeah,
so for something like that, with that position where you've got that double Gaston going on up above you with the shoulders, I think she might be able to rely on her shoulders a little bit more than the other athletes.
I think so. She's so strong on her shoulders.
But there you are, Magnus Midtbo. We thought that might happen, and it did. He's fantastically given us our first top of the semi-finals. Magnus Midtbo managing that top section. I didn't quite catch, because I was looking at Ellen's climb then, I didn't quite catch where he clipped just before the top there, but he looked very calm and collected. Even as he hit the top there, you know, he took a moment to turn around and, you know, wave at the crowd before coming down.
Yeah, that was a really solid goal, I have to say. Really impressive from him.
And a great attempt from Ellen as well. You know, he was saying he thought she should have taken the rest.
Yeah, I think it would have been better for her to take the rest, because she does have the endurance to rest there. Maybe it was a bit also about the confidence there, not taking the rest. But I think the endurance is for sure enough for her to take the rest, and I think she could have climbed for sure a few movements further up. Let's hope it will be enough for finals.
Well, two to definitely keep an eye on now then, Sean McCall and Kim Jae-in. So Sean is basically the shorter version of Magnus. You know, he's very, very powerful, but also very good at endurance, fantastic lead climber, very good at bouldering as well. Had his first gold this year over in Log Dragomir on the Bouldering World Cups. The only thing that could get in his way here is his height, but then there isn't that much that's height dependent on this route.
Yeah, I think it's going to be okay. He is really an all-rounding talent.
Yeah. You know, he climbs speed as well as lead and bouldering. I think the only thing is what we saw in Arco during the finals is he just rushed a little bit during the finals. I think that's the only thing that's going to cause him an issue here, is if he keeps, because the speed he's climbing at now is very, very fast. You can see it here, very, very fast. If he keeps that up when he moves into the roof, that could cost him the climb. He's going to need to stage and
a bit
just calm down a little bit, I think, as he hits the roof.
But I guess sometimes that's also a little bit mental problem. But so far he's moving good. Very effective on the slab there. Fast. Not having any troubles in the movements. It's looking very good. And also Jae-in Kim here at the entrance of the route. She might be the first one to top out this route. I'm very curious to see her. Let's wish her best luck in this route.
Now Sean has slowed down, it looks like here.
Yeah, a little bit. But he's already there in the roof part. Was going so fast, comparing it with the other athletes.
I think he just wanted to get here, because he knows from here that this is the point where he's really got to start concentrating, and you could tell from the start that he did then, he was just powering his way up to that point.
Yeah,
he's just got to make sure he hasn't overdone it in the first section, and he's going to get
and
a
it's
little
more
bit
his
pumped.
style there.
Yeah.
Because he is having lots of power, so the roof will be more his style for sure.
Shout out to Bert Valkenburg, who's saying getting pumped here in the Netherlands watching the World Cup lead in Puurs. Hope you're doing well, Bert. If you want to get in touch with us, you got any questions for us? If you disagree with anything we have to say, you can get in touch with us on Twitter and shout at us from across the interwebs by using the hashtag IFSCWC. We are open to criticism, aren't we, Seb? Well, you're not, I am. Well, this is it now then, moving on to the bouldery section here. Kim Jae-in with that earlier knee injury in Miol.
What's Sean doing?
There you go.
He was just doing it with
just
one
showing
hand.
off a little bit there.
Oh my goodness. That was scary. But he has gone through.
He's got me on edge though, because he started so quick. He's looking so strong. Is he going to have the endurance here to put in that same performance? Yeah, he climbed identically to Magnus yesterday. They were both on really good form, but I'm just really hoping that he's not overdone this intro and he's not really got himself to that stage where he's going to start to drain himself, because this point on the lip at the top here is going to take some energy on the left arm particularly, and he's relying on it again there, again here.
But he is still looking so solid there.
He is an exceptionally strong climber, but he's got me on edge. I'm hoping he hasn't overdone it,
Yeah. Now starts looking a little bit pumped, but still quite good. And I think from here he should clip.
Yeah, he is. Did he? No, I'm not sure he did
I
there.
think, yeah.
No, he hasn't yet. Here we are.
Oh my god.
Slipping behind himself here.
But still looking good.
Still looking good, yeah. It's this point that I'm a little bit concerned about, though.
Let's see if
Way
he will
onto
do
fingers.
this movement.
Can he hold it? No, you see.
Yeah, I think this movement is really hard.
It's a really tough point on the wall. I mean, it's a fantastic climb from Sean, and that should be enough to see him through to the finals, I think. But
yeah, I think so.
and he looked completely solid all the way up there.
Yeah, that's true.
Really, really solid. But then
so
you
solid.
could see there when he switched to that little crimp with the left arm, and he had to really rely on it to pull himself up. He just hadn't quite got enough to reach the next hold.
And I think there he was also a little bit pumped. Maybe also what he did there on the volume star lower on the wall was costing him a little bit of power.
He really could have taken a bit more time to relax in. I know there's not that many rest points, but some of the athletes have been finding them. There are a few there in the pockets a little bit later on that Christian was saying earlier today. It was still a fantastic effort and a fantastic climb from Sean, and he is so strong. We'll wait to see him
really
through to the finals later on, and I believe he is. We'll wait and see.
Giant Kim also still so solid here. You cannot see her pump there. It's crazy.
Exceptionally strong.
And I think she's the first who we're going to see climbing over this high point.
I think this might be our first female top. If she can get past this now, she's going to go into the shoulders and move. But as we say, she's got an extremely wide ape. Her shoulders are very strong.
Yeah.
A single Gaston actually. There's quite a nice hold on that.
She's
using
still
her
so
foot.
fresh there.
Yeah.
Next hold, very solid.
Still looking good.
Looking very good. Now
Heel hook, which is exactly what you want here on the right. It's going to allow her to go up with the right hand as well. Bit of extra support there. Got to decide what she's doing with the feet here, but she's shaking out her hands. She's looking really, really good.
Wow. Ooh. This
is a really wide pinch. It's more of a sloper than anything else.
Yeah. And it's so hard to get it on the right place. Oh.
That was the foot that brought her off there. That was the foot.
That was a pity. I think she still could have planned a few movements more.
Absolutely. Like, do you remember in Imst where she was clearly going to get the top and she timed out because it was such a long route, and she just turned around and looked down, and they had to say about 5 or 6 times time out to her. She just didn't want to get down. She wasn't pumped. She was fine. She would have carried on. And she is one of those ones. You never know if she's going to fall. It just happens or it doesn't.
Yes.
You don't see the shake in the arms. You don't see her getting pumped.
She almost never looks tired.
Yeah. Well, a fantastic effort from Kim Jae-in there, and that moves her into the finals at the moment. Ramon de Grange, then our new European champion, next up for France, starting off here. Another one that I think Ramon is, if it's a good day, he'll be in the finals. If it's a bad day, he'll have an early fall. I can never tell with Ramon what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think Roma is always strong enough, but sometimes his head is just getting him crazy. He's too nervous sometimes, I think.
which is bizarre considering how much experience he's got. And
Yeah.
he is, he's European champion. He climbed extremely well in Chamonix.
But I think it also depends on each person. Sometimes persons, even if they have lots of experience, they're maybe just not those resistant types, and they get nervous a bit faster. For some it takes a little bit longer.
Well, our next athlete out on the female route is Dinara Fakhretdinova. It's going to be an interesting one to see her moving through this one, but I think if Dinara doesn't do it, I think that if we're going to see a top, I think it's probably going to be Mina now. I mean, I have my money on Kim Jae-in, but you're talking about a really bouldery route and having to do the boulder style as well as having the endurance of lead. For me, that's a choice between Kim Jae-in and Mina Markovic,
Yeah, I
because
think
they're both so strong in the bouldering.
For sure, I think now the one with the highest potential to top this route will be Mina Markovic. Let's see what Dinara is doing here. Also, she got so strong this year, so maybe even her is able to do a top on this route. Let's see how she gets inside of the route, because also I think she has lots of maximal power as well.
The other interesting thing about Dinara is that she's currently spending a lot of time with Dmitry Sharafudinov.
Yeah.
I'm going to just leave it at spending a lot of time. I'm not going to embellish that anymore. But what I mean is that when she won the European Championship, which is another interesting thing for you guys to notice now, these are both our European champions for 2013. They both won in Chamonix. Dinara said when I interviewed her after the European Championships, she actually interrupted one of the questions I was saying to personally thank Dmitry Sharafudinov for the training advice and all the help that he's been giving her this year with her climbing style. Something has happened there. It's definitely paid off, because she has just gone from being borderline finalist to being medal positions in a very short space of time.
Just during 1 year time.
And if she's been training with Dmitry Sharafudinov, then she'll have been doing the bouldering. So this could be her route. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But she's another one I find hard to call. Either she does it or she doesn't. I'd find it difficult to say, well, this is her style.
Yeah, that's true. It's quite difficult to say. I think sometimes she just has a really good run and it all goes, and sometimes she just doesn't have such a good run and it doesn't work out so well. Let's see how she will do here.
Well, just talk us through Ramon de Grange here, because he's just starting to move towards the lip, Sebastian. This could be another potential top here.
Yeah,
he's looking good.
Yeah, he's still looking very strong. And now him doing the clip here, I think he got it inside. Still looking so solid. Next crimp. And now the hard shoulder movement, he's doing it, wow. And that's another top, amazing top from him. Looking also still very solid there. I think there are going to be quite a few tops for the man route. Very good performance. And now here, Dinara Fakhretdinova taking her time to rest. Moving on. Let's see how she will do it in this next bouldering movement. It actually should be her style, because as we were just talking about, she has increased her power, her whole strength so much during the last and this year. So I think this route should be quite good for her. And maybe we are going to see a new high point now. And she's done it. Very solid. As you could see, she didn't have any problems with this movement up there. And now doing next cross movement, and then she will have another rest position here. But she's still so fresh on that point.
So 2 tops then now on the men's route, making it through into the finals. We now have Jakob Schubert just starting off on the male route. Dinara in this rest position on the women's. Still looking okay, you'd say, at this point, Seb?
Yeah,
Dinara?
Dinara is looking really strong there. Very relaxed, so taking her time on the rest position. And I think, as I see her there, if she does everything alright, without any slips or something like that, she might even take a new high point. She's looking really good. And also for her, this shoulder movement should be not too hard, because she has got a lot of strength as well on her shoulders. I'm quite curious to see her further up in the route.
Ninth place in the semi-final for this Russian girl.
And Jakob Schubert moving here through the slab. Think finding it a little bit uncomfortable, but still quite solid, quite relaxed. He is also one of the climbers with lots of energy.
The thing about Jakob is that he's got a very impressive high power point. He can max out power very quickly. He's very, very strong. But he's also got the same amount of endurance that he has the max power. He can manage those tough boulder type moves where you have to really, really put a lot of energy into them. But then he always just seems to find that it's fine to just carry on using energy after that point.
Yeah, even if Jakob is pumped, he's able to climb so many movements more.
It's usually a mistake or,
Yes.
or a misread of the beta, like we saw in Arco just recently.
Yeah.
But that's usually the thing that gets him. Either that, or he just stands on a bolt or gets his iPhone out. Those are the other 2 things that seem to be the enemies of Jakob Schubert. No, he's just so strong. He's already now up into 2nd place on the world rankings.
Yeah.
And he's moved up from lone. Oh,
Oh, what happened there?
not entirely sure, but she obviously wasn't expecting it.
No.
I'm interested now as to whether that's going to be enough. I think it is. She was pretty high there at that point. I think that was around about the 42nd or 43rd hold out of a total of 50, and I think that means that she is through to the finals.
Yeah, it could be.
But she didn't expect that was for sure. Now I think it comes down to Mina. You're talking about that point on the shoulders, you know, that Mina, her back muscles are insane. I'm not even going to get involved in that one. It's the phrase I coined last year was epic level back muscles. She's just got these, you see it when she comes out, just rippling. She's so powerful.
Yeah,
Trains at
that's true.
a boulder-only gym as well, so you know she's going to be very, very used to the bouldering. She's so strong at bouldering. She's so strong at lead. I think if we see our top today here, or our first top on the women's, I think Mina could be about to deliver that for us now.
Yeah, from her it would be quite probable.
So I'm calling it. I'm calling it now. We're going to see a top here.
And Jakob Schubert still looking so fresh and relaxed. Didn't have any problems so far.
And he's using this as a rest point as well, which is not necessarily something we've seen before. It's a bit of an odd position to be. He's got a heel on one, tucked behind the tough section before it. It's quite a nice little rest point there, though, actually. With the other toe on the right. I mean, he's keeping a lot of pressure on his right leg.
Yeah, it's looking very effective there, actually. And now Mina on the wall.
And now Mina on the wall, yeah, so this is going to be interesting.
Let's see if we will be right, if she's going to go for a top. Let's hope so. Jakob also doing the solution with the cross movement there, not extending.
Starting to get towards a little bit pumped now, Jakob. Even after that rest there, you can see how red he's gone in the face. He's having to exert a lot of effort and energy here at this point.
Yeah.
You can see the forearm starting to go a little bit.
Yeah, Jakob has always got this red face
Yeah.
when he's getting tired. But even with red face, he's still climbing about 20 movements more. It's impressive.
Yeah, he's still looking pretty strong here. He's still looking okay. Mina very quick and easy up to this the star section here. And she should find these next few moves quite to her liking.
Yeah, for sure. Also, she should get up her legs there because she's quite flexible. Yeah, very solid. And I think now from Jakob we might see the next top. I would suppose that.
He's definitely starting to get pumped. You can see his right arm starting to shake there now. This is what happened to Sean. Let's hope that this next move is very, very tricky. He's got to go up with that left hand. The left doesn't look too bad at the moment, actually, when he goes up for that little crimp hold. So this is the position that Sean felt, just moving on to this next one. The left arm for him doesn't look too bad at the moment. It's the right that's causing him issues.
Yeah.
But he's got it. He's managed to stick it. This is good now.
And he is
Nice for Jakob.
Nice top there.
Very nice. He was definitely pushing towards his limit there, I think, on that one. It started to get a little bit shaky towards
he
the
got
end.
quite tired there.
But managed to hold it. Fantastic effort. Interesting to see how easy Magnus made it look.
Yeah.
In comparison, Magnus, wasn't flustered at all at the top. He relaxed into it. He waved at the crowd before he came down.
And also Romain. Romain was looking so strong
And
there.
Romain as well, yeah.
He didn't look that pumped even there. It was crazy, this performance from him.
Well, Mina looks completely and utterly relaxed. This
Yeah.
is calm, collected, no issues here.
Yeah, very calm. And now I think she's going to take the rest position again. Whoa. She doesn't
Okay,
take
now
it
we saw this happen earlier with
to Helen.
Hélène, and she pushed past this point, and it cost her. And let's hope it doesn't happen to Mina.
But she's still looking very fresh.
Yeah. Just going to get into this shoulder section now in a moment.
Now this dynamic move. Still looking quite solid. Not too pumped. Wow, what a rest position.
That's just how I'm going to rest. I'm just going to rest like this.
That's just Mina. Finding everywhere some position for to rest. Still very solid there. Starting to get pumped.
Yeah. It was the right arm that it looked like it was going to go first a minute ago.
And I think she's forgetting the right hold there. You see around the edge with the tick mark. She didn't take. And I think she actually got it on the wrong place there.
Misreading the beater, you think, as well? I think she
Yeah.
could have done with that rest that she moved past. I mean, it wasn't as obvious as it was with Ellen that Ellen should have stopped there, but I think she could have done with stopping there.
Yeah, I think so.
It
I
might
think
not
with
have-
stopping it would have been lots better. She would have more energy in that place.
So, no top then. I was wrong.
Yeah.
How much do I owe you?
Sir?
Is it €5, €10? How much did I owe you? Right, okay. Well, our next two for the women then are Momoka Oda and Magdalena Roak. Magda?
she might top, I think.
Yeah, possibly. We'll wait and see. She's looking
But
so
we have
strong.
already said that before.
in the qualifications, the only female athlete to have topped both routes. We'll see her in a few moments' time. For now, though, we go over to Sachiyama. Now, you said yourself, Sebastian, you thought this was completely his style. That he'll be fine on this one.
Yeah, I think Sachi is going to be very fine on this route because it's a very long route, and I think he's one of the most complete climbers at the moment. He just climbs every style so good. You cannot see lots of weaknesses on him. It's impressive.
Well, we've seen 3 so far: Magnus Midbo, Ramon de Grange, and Jakob Schubert.
And also him looks so relaxed there. Not having any troubles on this route so far. And he seems to find the same rest position as Jakob here.
Yeah.
With the heel.
But he hasn't spread his foot over to the to the
to
pinch.
the
He's not
orange
using
pinch.
that, and that's what I said with Jakob. It looked like he was using a lot of energy to keep that toe pointed down on the right leg onto that pinch. Looks like Sachiyama's actually come along and improved the position that he's rested in there.
Yeah.
Found a bit of a better way of resting. Well, Momoka's out. Just getting started here now as well.
Also still one of the very young athletes here in the female category.
World Youth Champion as well,
Last
Momoka
year.
Oda, and she's currently 4th on the overall world rankings, which is pretty impressive considering that she's
Yeah.
19 years old. The other interesting thing to note is that the person in 3rd at the moment is Johanna Ernst, and she's not competing this year at all. So we should be seeing Momoka start to move up towards around about the 3rd overall world ranking position pretty soon.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's well deserved.
Yeah,
we
for
have seen
sure.
her a couple of times, I believe, at some bouldering events, but she is predominantly lead climber. That's definitely her discipline.
Yes,
where
for
she's
sure.
the most comfortable.
Even if she is strong in both disciplines, but lead climbing is hurting. And Sachi getting closer to the top.
But just so calm still.
Sachi is looking so fresh there.
This is the only time that Sachi doesn't smile. When he's on a wall, he doesn't smile.
That's
As
true.
soon as he gets down, the smile's back on again. He's
That's
always
true.
got a smile for everyone.
Yeah,
You can tell the
Sachi is
concentration.
such a sympathetic guy. I met him a few times in Innsbruck, and he's so nice. I have been talking with him for such a long time. It's really nice. Really
Just
strong.
so calm, and that reach forward then with the right just looked right. It just
So
looked
relaxed.
comfortable, relaxed. That wasn't a big, squeeze for the next one at all.
It was really an easy top for him.
That looked like an easy top for him, yeah, absolutely. So that's Sachiyama, Ramon de Grange, Jakob Schubert, and Magnus Midbo. 4 tops so far.
4 tops,
And
wow.
one more athlete still yet to come. It is Ramon Julien Pouplanc about to come out. And we're expecting a top here from him. They've got
Yeah.
the endurance side of things. And like we saw with Sean, that there doesn't seem to be a height problem on this one at all. There's no really big moves.
No, the moves aren't that big. I think it should be really okay for Ramon to climb this route. And with his endurance, it shouldn't be any problem for him. Now Momoka, right before the longer movement.
It's interesting. Do you think she's going to do this static, or do you think she's going to go for the pop? I think she's planning on squeezing through this. Oh, no, she goes for it. It looked then like she was transferring some weight across so that she could just go for it nice and slow, but no, she's gone for it.
But I think she realized that for that she's too short.
Cam Harrison getting into saying it would be nice to see a win for Jakob after a bit of a rough season. The other interesting thing is that we're going to be in a bit of a tricky situation with countback now.
Yeah.
because Roman, Magnus, Sachi and Jakob, and also Ramone now, who's just about to come out. All 5 of those guys had 2 tops in the qualifications. They've now got a top in the semi-finals, which means that countback is pretty much null and void for the top 5 finalists here,
So
which means it's going to be time. And that, if Ramone manages to stop here, we expect he will. He's just getting out on the mats now. We're about to see Ramone get on the wall. If Ramone tops here as well, it could be a problem for Ramone in the final, because Ramone does like to do the slow climb.
Yes,
He likes
yes.
the slow climb.
he takes his time.
Whereas Magnus will power through it. If he thinks he can do it, he moves quite fast, sticks at it. Jakob is also quite a fast climber. Sachi a little bit slow, although actually Jakob has timed out before. Briançon last year.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember when he timed out. But I
And-
think actually Sachi is not even so slow.
Maybe it's because he just looks so zen when I look at him. He just
Yeah.
looks like he's completely and utterly calm and in the moment. And that
When I saw him,
serenity.
for example, training in Innsbruck, it was so crazy. He was running through the routes. There was some 8C plus, and he was doing it in I think 2.5 a minute on a 90
okay.
meters high wall.
That is fast. But the athletes must know by now. I mean, the guys back behind the wall, they'll be thinking, okay, we can't go to countback on this one. There's going to be no countback. It means you've got to climb fast in the final.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that finals will be hard enough to separate them.
Oh, that one as well. That could be the other one.
That's-
At the moment, there doesn't seem to be much between any of them. Or there isn't anything between any of them. They're all just constantly conquering. If anything, I'd say Jakob looked like the one that route was the hardest for, though.
Yeah.
It looked like the others didn't seem to be too plussed by the route. You know, Sachi's so calm at the end there. Magnus looked pretty collected.
Yeah. But Sachi was really impressive, I have to say.
Mocha with a climb that should be, I believe, enough to get her through into the finals, but still no top, which means it's all down to Magdalena Rourke. And if she manages this one as well, then I think we might be seeing a gold here for Magdalena
Yes, I
in the
think so.
finals. She's the only female athlete, the only athlete in the women's that managed to get both the tops in the qualification rounds. She's looking really strong. She's challenging Mina at nearly every event she's at now. A top here from Magdalena is going to be putting her in a really good mind frame for going into the finals as well. She'll know that she's done better than everyone else. And that can be a real confidence boost.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what she needs right now, because she's got the fitness, she's got the power. But I think in Briançon, for example, when she didn't do so good in finals as she wanted to, when she had this slip, or as well in Chamonix as I remember, I think for the mind that's just not so good, it's taking a bit of confidence. So I think if she's just doing it here well again, then might be really good for finals, that she finally maybe even gets a gold medal, because she really could get one.
Well, Cam's saying I reckon Magdalena will obliterate the top section if she reaches it. I think she's going to obliterate the whole thing here, Cam. She's looking really strong at the moment. Here she is. So it rests on her then. Magdalena is the possibility of our one and only top on the women's route today.
I'm curious.
You just feel in safe hands with Ramone most of the time, don't you? I mean, he is one of the slower climbers, I find, but you just feel safe watching him. You know, there's no major issue, unless he starts to do the faffing around the one move, because he's a big fan of that. He'll climb back down again, back up, back down again, until he feels confident about moving forward.
Look at that, he's got just so much power.
But he's faffing, and this could be sapping some of that power. He's got to start moving from here. This is a big reach for him, I think. He's keeping that left hand on.
And I think he's trying to cross there. Whoa.
One hand, okay.
That's Ramon. I think I don't know anybody who's that fit as him. It's impressive. I think now if everything goes normal, there shouldn't be any trouble for him anymore to get here to the top.
He just looks so comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, there was that moment back there then when he was switching his hands around, and I thought, you know, this could be the point that you start sapping your energy, because that does happen to him. You know, he can spend a long time on a 2 or 3 hole sequence, and he doesn't feel confident. He's going to waste a bit of time going backwards and forwards, and that's what happened to him at the World Championships last year.
And look, this rest position of him.
But then he does stuff like this, and he does stuff like, you know, once he'd got past that point down there, one arm moving across, entire body weight, 2/3 of the way up a wall. You know, this will be another measure for us now. You'll see, you know, with the left hand goes up in a minute, and then the right hand goes over it. He's going to make this look easy.
So relaxed, this movement.
And we expected it, and there it was.
And
Ramon
this was
Julien
even
Puurc,
more.
another top then. So we have those 5 or 6 tied male athletes at the top there, with 2 tops in the qualifications and a top here in the semi-finals. Ramon also now one of those athletes. And that concludes the male athletes here. So our male semi-final is finished. We now have our finalists. Give them a couple of seconds to get those confirmed with the IFSC, and in a moment we'll have a look at who we think those 8 athletes are going to be. We're now with just Magdalena Roak, our last climber here today in the semi-final stage, before we're going to take a break for you guys, let you go and get some lunch, relax a little bit, and then we'll be back with you at around about 5:05 local time to us here in Puurs. That was a risky one then.
Yeah, that was a little bit risky one, but she still held it, so it's fine. She's anyway got lots of endurance, so. But I think she didn't really like that movement. But now she's up on her way again. Still really solid still.
The only way I can describe the way that it's a very different style, I think, to a lot of the other female athletes. It's sort of like bursts of pressure. That's the only real way I can describe the way she climbs. She will reach for something and then squeeze to get it.
Yeah,
then
that's
she'll
true.
reach for something and squeeze to get it. And it's interesting, you know. You see someone like Kim Gain who's very fluid all the way through. You know, she just moves from one to the next, very graceful on the wall. Magdalena seems sort of like a constrictor. She just gets on and she just like squeezes her way onto the next one. You'll see her when.
And she's always very controlled.
Yeah, it's always completely controlled. Yeah.
And she's got so much finger power. I think that she really has got lots of finger power, and she's blocking a lot.
You can see it there, you know, she goes up with the left, she sorts out where her hands are going to be going, and then squeezes before going on to the next one.
Just like
Every
her.
time, you know, it's like these bursts of pressure.
Yeah, I think she's got really, and especially, high finger power. And mainly on which positive pinches and crimps, you're able to see that.
Bit of a swing out there for her. Seen athletes use a heel hook there on the outside, the arete edge. She's now using a heel hook on the hold there on the right hand side. She's going to have to take that off if she wants to go for this next one though. Otherwise it's a bit of a big reach.
And now even resting here. Whoa. I think that was taking a little bit of power. But still looking really solid.
Yeah, she's got no shake in here at all.
No,
She's got
not at all.
not really that much of a pump going on at the forearms. They're still looking pretty calm.
Yeah, she's got such strong forearms. and I'm curious about the next movements. Still very good.
Yeah, this is going to take the power away from her fingers here and make her use the upper body strength
Whoa.
that she's got. She's got a shake now going on in the right arm.
I think now she's pumped.
So, you know, this is not finger power now. This is shoulders.
Same movement.
So it's really interesting to see, you know, like you've highlighted the finger strength. For me, I can see that move and squeeze, the bursts of pressure that she's got going on. So interesting. When you take that opportunity away from her, when the finger power goes and you're relying more on the body strength, you're looking at the shoulder power, the core muscles here. There's a point there where she just didn't quite have that power. You could see as soon as she went onto the shoulder moves, the shake kicked in.
Yes.
When she looked so strong, one move below that.
Yeah,
Really
that's
interesting.
true. Yeah, I think it was really the style of the move that brought her out.
So, there we have it. We have our female athletes finishing up through there. Then we're waiting for the results to just come in now, and we'll have the 2-minute little bit of a break before these results are all confirmed. And here we are then. This is what we're looking like. It's looking like 9. It is. Could it even be 10 actually? We might have another one on the other page. But there we are. We have 5 tied first place positions. Ramone, Sachi, Jakob, Ramon and Magnus. 6th place is Sean. 7th place is Min Hyunbin, so he does make it in. Domin Skofic is in, and Manuel Ramon is in as well in tied 8th. Could there be another page? No, it's 10. Okay, so there we are. We have 9 male athletes now moving forward into the final. That's going to be interesting, an extra one. So we'll probably have somebody come out and climb first on their own, and then we'll balance out all the way through for the rest of the final. Very interesting. And this is the women's then. This is what we're looking like now. A much easier spread here, and it's looking like Jenny and Anak are in. That's fantastic news for Anak Verhoeven.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Kim Jae-in is in there, first place. Momoka Oda in second. A perfect split all the way down here. I mean, we're using count back on this one because 42 plus 4 athletes there, all split from 4th place all the way down to 7th. All fell on the same point as Anak Verhoeven, but that's great. Anak Verhoeven in 7th place.
Yeah, that's really nice for her.
Unfortunately for Katarina Posch, Mathilde Romain and Salome, they're just falling short of that one. Yuka, again, you know, the dark horse, she comes very close, but not quite there. But that's looking good, and a nice split down there as well. You know that we don't have too many ties, so that's going to be good for countback. So Sebastian, are we going to see you again for the finals?
Yeah, I hope I will be there. I'm now going to relax and wait a bit, and then
Go and grab lunch. Thank you very much, Sebastian. I'm going to just leave these scrolling for a second, let you guys have a little look at them. Well, thank you very much for being with us all the way through this then, the semi-finals. It remains for me to thank Sebastian Halenki, who's been with me all the way through today, doing a fantastic job as co-commentator. He's going to be back with me later on this evening. We're going to give you a bit of a brief break now. We'll be back at 5:05 local time to us here in Puurs for the finals. We now have 9 male athletes, 8 female athletes. You know who they are. Remember that it takes a couple of moments for the judges to confirm all of those results. Just keep an eye peeled on the IFSC's website. Have a little look at that in a few moments' time, and we'll have all of that confirmed for you before we're back with you a little bit later at 5:05. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you soon.